All right, before we get this party rocking, we want to just acknowledge that there is so much going on in the world right now. A lot of prayers and thoughts out to Jamaica and just a lot. And before we get into it, we want to welcome you back to What Did Prince Do This Week? It has been a long time. This is our first break. How did it feel, Michael Dean, to get that break?
Everybody, it felt good.
Yes,
It felt delicious. It actually feels even better to come back. Wow.
Yes, it does. And we got to give a very special shout out to Lee Christian's wife who posted
Whoa, wow.
AM.
Salute. You got to come see what your husband was doing and carrying on these weeks.
No, Lee Christian's wife was making sure that today was the day. That's a wife.
Man, she wants you out. She wants you away from her. She's like, go back to that thing. Like, leave me alone, Lee.
Brother Christian, that's called having a good woman right there.
Gracie, Irene, no, he does not have a side chick. It was just us. You know. You were wondering why he was hanging around the last couple of weeks. You're like, well, where's that other? It was just us. We were just having a family break, so nothing crazy.
Yes, a family break. And with that being said, let's start with our. We got to have some Eric leads to get things started. One of my favorite songs of all time. All right. So let's do roll call first, because we got a lot of folks who are so happy to be back. Love this. We got Anna B, second in the chat. Back to class. Purple Partners. We got Andre Staley. What up, though? Welcome back. Oh, look at this, Andre. It's like giving us self-care. Look at it. I'm so appreciative. I hope you guys continue to take breaks when you need it. It's important. But we took a break because Prince wasn't taking a break, but there was nothing in the book. So, and Stephanie Mills, yes, we are going to talk about D'Angelo after we get finished greeting you. Yes, the closest man to Prince. We got Melvin Rush with us. Purple love to everybody. We got April Watson. Back to the land of purple funk. That's right. We got Lori Johnson with another purple episode of What Did Prince Do This Week? And then we got Sister Charles in the house. Oh, thank you so much. We have missed you. We got Chanel in the house. Australia representing. Looking forward to my Prince Purple Bubble of music, love, and joy. Here we go. Lee Christian's here. And then we got Sanique 22. Saturday. Sanique. Is it Sanique or is it Cynic? Sanique? I think it's Sanique. And then, because I've always wondered about that. And then, yes, Drea Dancers, we are back on the one.
Hey, go back to Sanique for a second.
Yep.
Hey, Brother Sanique, email me because I forgot. I actually wrote a very long and thorough review of Once Upon a Time in Minneapolis about 3 or 4 years ago. And so this was before I met you, before I knew you. I was just fanboying out on your documentary, your work on YouTube. And I completely forgot it. And I was going through, with our time off, you know how you going through things and refreshing things. And I go, oh, wow. So I want you to see my very thorough. I actually wrote one for my newsletter. I wrote a review for my newsletter for Once Upon a Time in Minneapolis. So email me. I'd like for you to see it because the title of it is When the Bootleg is Actually Better Than the Official Release.
Oh,
so that was the title of it. All right, so that's it. We can go on.
Send it to me too, because I don't remember that one.
Okay, I'll definitely send it.
All right, and I am so behind. There's so many episodes, but I look forward to catching up for sure. And we got Drea Dances, so we said that because we're back on the one. We got Lady Cab Driver. Yes, what a month October has been. We have Ron Kayla. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then we got Christina from Minneapolis. It's so great to have you here. We have Lisa from H-Town. So happy to have you back. We got Nick Belden. Yes. I love this. Nick Felden is ready. They've done their reading. They know what's up. And Nick is ready for the MTV interview in the premiere of America because Nick Felden is where we live, 1985. That's where we're living right now. Yes. We got Gabrielle. I am here. Where are you? Nice. Love to have you back. We got Chris Bournet. Oh, see, look. See, you rubbing off on the folks. You got Chris Bournet going to the Ohio State Penn State game.
Look here. I got a 6 o'clock game this evening, baby. That's why I'm here with y'all right now. And in fact, I was depressed, Brother Dean. We took our first loss of the season last Saturday. I didn't want to get out the bed. So look, the only way we can defend our national championship, we can't lose another game this year, and we got 4 games left. Wow. We're still in first place. Them Jackson State Tigers still in first place. We took that L last week, so we can't win. We can't lose another game. So I need all the funk to be on deck. That's it. Let's go on back to the print.
Man, somebody cue up Purple and Gold. That'll motivate you.
Yes, indeed. We got Blade Brown, my alliterative brother. Is always great to see you here. And yes, we are definitely slackers because I'm slacking on my own stuff. I got my own vault. So we definitely slacking. And we got Edgar, yay! We got Edgar in the house. We got Duke Swan in the house. And yes, indeed, October has been a very rough month. We have Purple Girl 51. We got Insatiable Is My Name. And yes, Lee Christian's wife is here with us. Welcome, Lee Christian's wife. We love having you.
I'm gonna hang around. It's actually kind of fun. Now, are y'all on different computers? I'm just curious. Like, what's going on over at the Lee house?
What's the setup?
Hey, Brother Dean, that's funny. But me and my wife, we both do a lot of community work. So we'll be at a lot of the same events together, but we'll be in different cars. That was this lady who was really into like the local community work. She had known me and my wife both for 10 years, had worked on projects with me and my wife for 10 years. And one day came running like, I didn't know y'all asses was married. So
girl, let me tell you about Celia. Let me stop.
So I understand that the leads are on different computers. I understand because sometimes you got to do separate work to get it done.
For sure.
And Blade Brown is reminding us that we have missed the anniversary of the Arms of Orion single.
I didn't miss it. I played it.
But did the estate post something? Dear estate.
There you go.
That's where I want to be.
And we got Audra back. Audra, are you excited about Record Store Day? I'm excited about Record Store Day. I always run into Audra in Atlanta for Record Store Day. So I'm very excited because of the Round and a Day singles box set. Okay, and then we got Vince Simpson, aka
Vince
Flossolini. I love that. Flossolini. We got Heavenly Gains, and we got, let's see. I think MD is on the money with Grace wondering when she could get rid of me for a couple of hours on a Saturday again. Yes. We got Vanessa back. We got Love Sexy 71 back. Oh, and then Purple. Oh, yes. We also got to talk about the Purple Rain musical at the State Theater.
Yeah, I want to hear people's reactions to that.
Yes, you want to hear about that. All right, so let's get into it. And we are going to begin with our beloved D'Angelo, who suddenly passed. And I was shocked. I'm sure a lot of us were shocked. And the first thing that I wanted to watch was actually the interview that Nelson George had done for his Funk documentary, because for a couple of reasons. One, he was so happy. Number two, he's such a music head. He's like a music nerd. And three, he talks about how Parade is his favorite funk album in this particular. And since we're in 1985, that'll connect it for you for the Prince people who are maybe going like, why are we talking about D'Angelo? Because D'Angelo was a Prince super fan. And who else would say that Parade is their most favorite funk album other than D'Angelo? So we really have to give him all the love. And I hope that you have been playing all the music. And there's so many of us back. I haven't, thank you. Yeah, Cynic. Okay, Cynic. And then we got Keith Upchurch, we got TP, we got Mira, we got.
Just to add on the D'Angelo thing real quick, I would say now to people, D'Angelo is, the same way that Prince is birth or is a disciple of, Sly, Stevie, and the things that came before him. D'Angelo is like a direct disciple of Prince. It's like it's to see a younger, somewhat like of a younger generation that's what they grew up on was Prince, and Marvin and other things. But you can really see the Prince in him, and you can see the effect of what would it be like to grow up in a world where Prince, it was the main thing that you was into, and then you were a musical dude yourself. The same way, like I said, if you look at Prince and you can look at Stevie or something or Sly, and you can really see it embedded in what he does. That was the same way to me what D'Angelo was. You could just tell, like,
Yeah.
But yeah, he's gone too soon, but man, what an impact and a legacy he's left just for what he did do. Fantastic, man. Something for the people coming up to look up to can glean some musical stuff from what he did.
Yes, for sure. And I'm curious, like in the chat, like what was the first thing that you wanted to watch or listen to?
Talking about D'Angelo?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man. Mm-hmm.
What did you do, Michael?
I mean, so I'm always listening to D'Angelo anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we did our little jam session thing. Just put on my favorites. Another Life, Voodoo. I love that performance he did with Quest where they covered the SOS band. I mean, you can just put on any record, all right. But yeah, I mean, just always playing anyway. So just like it was great to see the world turn their attention to D'Angelo. That was, it's like, yeah, they do recognize it. I hate that it sort of has to happen when you sort of leave, but I love that the recognition was pretty incredible.
Yes. And what about you, Celie?
So kind of like Brother Dean, but not as much. So Brown Sugar is in my regular rotation, and then I think I have 2 or 3 songs from the other 2 albums. And so what I wanted to do, and I was glad with the newsletter, and like all of us, we're all in different little groups, right? Like we have our little Prince group thread, and then I know Brother Dean has some different groups and threads, and Prof Duff, you have some different groups and threads. So what was good for me was with the newsletter, I was able to get Sister Tanya Pendleton's article on voodoo, and I was able to get my big brother in literary, Michael Gonzalez. He had done an article on Brown Sugar. So what I did I was very, very intentional in this, because if y'all know, I've said this before, I don't like people who try to tie Prince to one album or one moment. And so I wanted to make sure I didn't do that to D'Angelo. So what I did in my tribute in the newsletter, I wrote a paragraph about how I respected D'Angelo. Then I stepped to the side and provided links to Tanya Pendleton's article and to Brother Gonzalez's article, because I wanted people to get a full breadth, a full 3-dimensional understanding of D'Angelo, and not just through my Brown Sugar lens. And so for me, that was the biggest tribute, because I can say this, when I think about, when people ask me how his music changed the most, I think that it has changed in that we don't have a majority of Black musicians coming out the church. And so D'Angelo is a child, as Brother Dean said, a child of Prince, because D'Angelo is also a child of the church, right? D'Angelo was a music director. And I think that we underestimate the power of all the people who were music directors, left a church and went on to shape the culture and to shape what Black music is. So for me, I did a lot of thinking about my own coming up in the church, music directors in the church, and how, and I'll end on this, in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and in most of the Delta towns, there are two streets that intersect. All of the churches are on one street and all of the juke joints on another street. So if anybody ever comes to Clarksdale and you're in Mississippi, I'll be glad to meet up with you. But if you walk, so Issaquena is the street with all of the churches, and 4th Street is the street with all of the juke joints. By the way, and the old folks said, don't get caught on 4th Street. But I'm like, yeah, but it's right next to Issaquena where the churches. So I don't understand. So I really, D'Angelo made me think about it. So I went back and found, the documentary where it shows him in his church and being the music director. And I just sat with that for a while, because for me, to me, that's what D'Angelo was for me, a child of Prince, but also a child of how Black music came from the church and was its most powerful when it was coming from the church. I'll shut up.
I think actually, I wish that the documentary Devil's Pie had a wider release, because I think it's a really good documentary showing how, because it's not only D'Angelo's narrative, but also Pookie's narrative, who was his keyboardist in the Vanguard at the time. And I didn't realize that he wasn't in the Montreux performance, Pookie, and there's like a whole sub narrative, because both D'Angelo and Pookie grew up in the church. There can be like a serious struggle between playing secular music when you've come from the church. And I think that documentary really shows that struggle and that battle. But also it does a really great job in showing how rooted D'Angelo is in the church. And I loved how it ends when he is actually listening to the Visionaires, I think, which is a gospel group. And one of the things, I also went back and I listened to the Red Bull Music Academy interview that he did. And one of the things that he talked about was that he wanted to actually like have a quartet, like a vocal quartet.
Right.
And I think that would have been really amazing if he would have been able to do that. And I think that's something that's sorely missing. And I think one of the reasons why I think D'Angelo is so beloved is because he is a direct connect to music. Like he reached back. And so we have the gospel, we have the quartet in terms of stacking his harmonies. No one can stack harmonies like he can, which was, really, really incredible. And then we also have like the connections to Prince through having Jesse Johnson in his band, but also him being a Prince fan. And like me personally, every time I listen to Charade, I think of Prince. It's like the song that Prince didn't write, but Prince wrote, but it's D'Angelo. It's such a really beautiful song. And then the other thing I wanted to point out was Edgar actually posted that he oddly played D'Angelo's version of Sometimes It Snows in April first. And to be honest, I never watched that performance when Prince passed because I just couldn't take it. But I did listen. I watched it when D'Angelo passed, and it was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful tribute to Prince. And, not many people would cover Sometimes It Snows in April, so that just shows, like what a true fan D'Angelo really was. And
I'll say shout out to that person on Facebook, because I wanted to put that link in the newsletter when we did it, and I had to find it on Facebook. I couldn't find it on YouTube, right? I couldn't find the whole thing. So whoever that person is on Facebook that has that link, because I'm with both of y'all. That's a very important performance. And what I love about it is, and I indicated, for like a brief second, D'Angelo gets overcome with emotion. And what I love is that Princess they recognize that, so they fill in the note. But you see D'Angelo just for a second, just almost basically lose it. And what I talked about was that was the moment that D'Angelo was crooning us. D'Angelo was comforting us in his own pain. He understood the power of me. And for me, that will be, I'm glad, thank you for me, because that will be for me one of the best gifts that D'Angelo gave me. Was that performance, was D'Angelo understanding that he was a keeper of the flame and to use art in its most basic form, which is to heal people. So yeah, thank y'all for mentioning that. That's it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I know it's mentioned before, but that Blondie, even that samples, charades, samples, not samples, but they play a piece. It's based off of a section of the song Blondie.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
He was very slick with, that's why you know he was a super fan. Like, he'd be throwing little stuff that you really had to like, I can't see what you're doing there.
Yes.
So, yeah. Real slick.
So one of the things that I just had to do, I absolutely love the song that he contributed to the Book of Clarence film. It's called "I Want You Forever."
I haven't heard that.
Oh, you got to listen to it. It's all, you remember the Book of Clarence? It was a film, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song, and it's called "I Want You Forever." And I highly recommend that you check it out. I'll make sure that I put it in the playlist in case you haven't listened to it. And we also have the Nelson George interview, fantastic interview, in the playlist, as well as the Red Bull Music Academy interview. And Ricky shared this with us. Actually, today is D'Angelo's memorial in Virginia. And so this is the funeral program from today. And you can see the order of service, and you can see that the Soultronics and the Vanguard are there. I really feel for Stevie Wonder, because Stevie Wonder is often the person that people call for these memorial tributes, and Stevie's there. And I can't imagine what it's like to have Stevie with members of D'Angelo's band. And Kendra Foster, who's a local amazing musician who wrote a lot of the songs with D'Angelo on the Black Messiah record and was on tour for the Second Coming tour. The Black Messiah tour was called the Second Coming tour. And if you're a Prince fan, you should know the connection to that, which I thought was really brilliant on his end for recognizing Prince in that way. And then I really love this amazing photo that they have on the back of him being in the studio, being happy. And you can see the pallbearers up at the top and all of that. So thanks, Ricky, for sharing this. And then if you haven't listened to D'Angelo's records, I highly recommend that you do. The first is Brown Sugar from '95, which is the same year that the Gold Experience in Exodus was released, for some context. And also 2000, we have Voodoo. And I really wish that personally he would have gone with the alternate cover of Voodoo, which was similar to one of the unreleased covers of Jimi Hendrix for Are You Experienced? But Voodoo is amazing. Actually, the first song that I wanted to listen to was Send It On from Voodoo. And yes, Vanessa, Kendra Foster was also a Funkadelic, touring with George Clinton for many, many years. And when Kendra left the Second Coming tour, Joy, one of my absolute favorites, actually took over. And yes, the Book of Clarence soundtrack, yes. In case did I say something wrong? I think I said the Book of Clarence, but maybe I said something wrong.
Yeah, I think she gets amen in you.
Oh, okay. And then let's see. And Melvin Rush is saying he got to do a little of that live quartet sound with Raphael Sadiq.
That's classic, man.
Classic.
That was one of those moments too. You know, if you remember back to when they did that, that was the original Lucy Pearl. Like, I was still waiting for their album. Obviously, it changed by the time the group came around, but I was like, I was like, okay, here we go. My favorites are all in one group. It's over. But yeah, what a classic performance. That was when D'Angelo got up off that seat. and you knew like, oh, okay, he ain't playing now. You know, he's not just gonna sit down. He's ready to get it popping. So I love that performance.
Yes. And we would all love to see the Second Coming film footage for sure. And let's see. Yes.
Also, just to add, those 3 albums are bomb, but you got to go get his live album too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course. Yep. I think it was live at Jazz Cafe in London, or it's definitely in London for sure. And then let's see, what else do I have on here? So Michael Dean, you did an amazing tribute to D'Angelo. So if you want to have more of a tribute to D'Angelo, I highly recommend that you check this out. It's in the accompanying playlist. So I went to go see Bilal. So Robert Glasper does this thing at Blue Note in New York. He's been doing it for the past 7 years, and it's called Robtober. He takes over the Blue Note for an entire month in October, and he does 2 shows a night, and it varies every night, like who will be there, or sometimes there's little mini residencies. So Bilal was with him for 3 nights, and what was really great about it, because this was the week after D'Angelo passed, was that 3 of the Vanguard were on stage. So you had Chris Dave, who was in D'Angelo's band, who was the drummer. You had Isaiah Sharkey, who is an amazing guitarist and who also tours with Corey Henry sometimes, was also in the Vanguard. And originally, Derek Hodge was supposed to be the bassist for the Bilal shows, but after D'Angelo passed, it changed to Pino Palladino being the bassist for these Bilal shows with Robert Glasper. So that was 3 members of the Vanguard on stage. And Bilal and those 3 members, they did amazing versions of like Brown Sugar, Betray My Heart. Oh, it was the night that I went to, but I heard and saw on Instagram other nights, he did like Left and Right and some other D'Angelo tunes. So they did different D'Angelo tunes every night. And I thought that was like really, really amazing.
And good. I'm sorry.
And I just see Edgar is seconding you, Michael Dean, live at the Jazz Cafe was the second thing I played. So good. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and not to steal the thunder, appreciate Groovement. And my favorite moment, though, from that show was Michelle Ende and cellos. Love You Down. I don't, y'all know I'm not a covers guy. I'm just not my thing. I like them live. I don't like them on record. But her cover, and I put in the chat, somebody go tell Brother Turnbull that Ready for the World catalog is aging well. So, because we all know how he feels about Ready for the World. But if like I said, so everything that Prof Dove said, please go watch. I watched like all of the clips, and she is great. But when I tell you, I literally had to stop in the middle of that performance because it was just that damn good what Michelle and they telling what that band did to Love You Down. I mean, it was. I'll just shut up there. So go watch all of that. Go if you again, shout out to Groovement for posting those. Definitely go get into the D'Angelo stuff, but please click on that Michelle and Dave cellos Love You Down, because you will, for people who may not be Ready for the World fans, that song will make, at least that cover will make you think of that song in a whole. And I love the original. I want to be really clear. I love the original, but Love You Down for about Ready for the World. I got 10 Ready for the World songs on my iTunes playlist. Like, I ain't gonna sit here in front. I'm a Ready for the World cat, right?
Even my girlie.
I'm a Ready for the World cat. Like I was, and look, and I'm gonna be clear. Melvin Riley, he got some folks some of his folks is from Clarksdale, so that blues and that funk kind of thing.
Oh, we're not gonna front on Melvin. I mean, that's he's certified.
But I just want to say just that. Really, even if you don't dig Ready for the World or whatever, go check out like Prof said, the whole show is phenomenal. I will say this. And I'm going to miss something you propped up.
Okay.
I was going to wait till later. I mean, and you going to want to take my card and give it back to me.
Oh,
Until the shows that just happened, that I just watched, I was not that big of a Bilal guy.
Oh, okay.
I just, for whatever it was, his tone for me wasn't as full as some of the singers I like. This show, I shut the hell up. Like I ain't gonna even front. I ain't gonna even front. I was tremendously moved, and this is what moved me. I did not know he had that kind of control over his vocal range.
Oh yes.
And there's a difference between having vocal range and having control over it. And what I mean is, singers can have vocal range, but they can't go from one end to another seamlessly. There's either a pause or a stop, or God forbid, a crack in the note. So to see Bilal not only have vocal range, but to be able to go from his high to his lower to his low to his high seamlessly, without a pause, without a change, and without a crack, and to do it standing there flat-footed live. I see. I'm gonna go on. So that was my Bilal moment. So thank Grooverman and thank you. And it's a great show. I'll shut up.
Yeah, so I mean, I've actually seen Bilal more than I've seen Prince. I mean, I've seen Bilal 8 times in the past 2 years already. He's one of my favorite. I won't go into, because you know, I know when people go like, we're here for Prince. But Bilal is beloved for sure. So yesterday was Halloween, and I love that Edgar shared these amazing Edgar Wing posters, and they're related to Under the Cherry Moon. So they're related to 1985, because that's the year we're living in during What Did Prince Do This Week. And I love, it says, back to thrill and chill you, screamy, scary, terrifying, horrific. We'll be scaring you if you dare to take it. Dracula, the vampire bat that lives on human blood, starring Christopher Tracy. And I just love, the casket. It looks like the casket in the grotto that Mary Shelley and Prince goes to. So
that's right, cousin. Give her that Bela Lugosi look.
Yes, the Bela Lugosi. The Bela Lugosi look. Now, this is not my favorite one. This is my favorite one. Another Edgar Wing poster. The Prince of Darkness returns. Under the Blood Red Moon. I think these are brilliant. Edgar, thank you so much for sharing these. They're so, so great.
Now, Brother Cruz, I love them. Don't get me wrong. I love them. I do love them. I appreciate you sharing them. But you know, we needed a third one that said Blackula. Come on now, Edgar. Come on.
Hilarious.
Wait. So
there we go.
So I have a Halloween tradition where I either watch Blackula or Scream Blackula Scream every year. And I watched Scream Blackula Scream last night because, one, I love the incredible William Marshall in the role of Blackula. He's so incredible. But in Scream Blackula Scream, he is accompanied by one of my heroines, the amazing Pam Grier, as a priestess. So if you have not seen Scream Blackula Scream, I highly recommend it. So technically, because this is still Halloween weekend, and you will not regret it, because Scream Blackula Scream in particular, and also in Scream Blackula Scream is Richard Lawson.
Yes.
So Richard Lawson, and he's really great in Scream Blackula Scream. So I'm curious, Celie, like, do you have a preference? Let's see. Edgar says, I actually made Under the Blood Red Moon as a comment to Michael Dean a while ago, and I will do Blackula next year. Oh, and this is one of my favorite ones too, Kim, Vampire. I love, when he is the preacher.
Yep.
That's my favorite scene from Vampire in Brooklyn.
Cause evil is good. And It's just good. And when you get some evil ass, oh Lord,
That's great. Oh my God. It is so amazing for sure. And since we're talking about Black, well, not necessarily. What I found interesting was that neither of these were released in October. One was released in August of 1972, and the other one was released in June of 1973. I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Wow.
But a very amazing film that no one talks about that I would probably watch tonight, but it's a hard watch only because like you have to be in the mood for it, but it's brilliant, brilliant film. It's called Ganja and Hess. It was also released in 1973 in April, which is even weirder. And it actually stars Duane Jones. And Duane Jones was in, why am I blanking? Come on, Kim. Kim, help me out. You should know. But anyway, it's Duane Jones because someone's going to help me out. He's in a very famous film. I'm just going to guess I have to do my Googles really quickly. And let's see. Duane Jones.
I've never heard of this movie.
Most people haven't. So Duane Jones is in Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead. So he's the main character in Night of the Living Dead. Thank you, Lee Christian's wife. I'm going to start calling you Grace instead of Lee Christian's wife. Thank you, Grace. Really appreciate that. And he is such.
Grace, there you go.
Yes. Hopefully Grace understands the reference. If not, please.
It's a Prince thing, Grace.
Yeah, it's a Prince thing, Grace. So just so you know. And yes, I'm thinking if you're Blade Brown, are you talking about the Ganja and Hess soundtrack? Because they actually re-released that for Record Store Day a couple of years back. Oh, wow. Grace is a horror junkie. No, we didn't talk about Ganja and Hess during Symposium, but we should. This is funny. Yes, I don't really consider Tanya's Island a horror movie. That's the movie with Vanity in it. Denise is one of my favorite films because
that's the one with the big gorilla.
Yes,
that's a creepy ass movie.
Man. I still haven't actually seen that movie.
You should see it, Michael.
Seen clips.
It's definitely worth watching.
Maybe that'll hit Tubi one day. That's look like exactly
one of the things that I love about it is that Vanity is almost in every single scene.
Yep.
Well, yeah. I mean, have you seen Vanity?
She ain't got to know how to act.
Oh my God.
Can I play the gorilla?
Okay. So anyway, the poster on the left, I think is the original poster. And then the poster on the right, it has been re-released. And the reason why it's been re-released is that it was cut up, it was cut up and edited, and sometimes you can find it as double possession, and it's like another title for it. But I found this other article online, and one, I didn't even know there was a Playboy Theater in New York, but it seems to be that there was at one point. So in 1973, when this premiered in New York, it premiered at the Playboy Theater, and what I find interesting about this, it says most important Black film since Sweetback, and everyone should know about Sweetback's Revenge, and bound to be the most controversial film of the year. You will be moved, you will return. It is a very haunting film, and more people need to know about it. Now, Spike Lee did a remake called The Blood of Jesus. Something like that. And it's not, first of all, it's not like a remake, like verbatim. There was some creative license taken, but you really need to see the original.
The one with Chad Boseman?
No, that was a different one. No, that was a different one. I can't remember the name of that film, but so Marlena Clark, who
well, damn.
Yes. Marlena Clark, who is the star of Ganja and Hess, is one of the most beautiful women ever. And she passed recently, actually in 2023, at the age of 85. and she just didn't get her due. She, she was in a couple of other films. She was on like Sanford and Son, like she would have like bit parts, but she is an amazing actress and her screen presence is magnetic. So please watch Ganja and Hess so that we can get more love for this amazing film, which is directed by a Black director named Bill Gunn, who is also really important. I think she was Lamont's girlfriend. I could be wrong, but I think that's right.
Yeah.
And Grace, I love this. Duane Jones' first Black lead. It was the first Black lead in a horror film, 1968. So Duane Jones, who is the other principal in Ganja and Hess. So Ganja and Hess is a really important film. So that's the reason why I'm taking time out to talk about it during this Halloween weekend. And these are a couple of other shots from the film. It's beautifully shot. Such a beautiful film. Okay, so let's get into it. What did Prince do this week? We're going week to week. We're just finally getting to our housekeeping. Follow the detailed schedule here. We don't have time for that. And you do not need the paperback version.
Done this in a minute.
I know. But this is the one that has the updated pages and whatnot. And I think it was LTTK. Someone said they had to return their copy to the library because somebody else wanted it. Hopefully you can get it back once that person is finished with it.
Or you can go buy one.
Or you can go buy one. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Tandy Newton. Oh, Lee. Tandy's one of my favorite actresses of all time. And yes, I love her in Gridlock with Tupac. Yes, that's right. And Raywin, yes, you got to get the hardcover book, even though it won't be the updated version. So just be aware of that.
But in these trying times,
yes,
you need something just in case you can knock somebody out with the phone. Just in case.
Just in case.
Dual purpose.
Welcome, D68A. I love this. When doves playfully don't try whistling for WDPDTW.
You ain't say that right. This is the DE68A show. Thank you, brother, for all you do.
Oh, wow, Kim. I did not know this. Marlena Clark was married to Billy D. Williams. Okay.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
First time I've seen her picture, Billy. Yes.
There you go.
Billy D. Salute to Billy D.
Yes.
You want my arm to fall off?
Hilarious. What do we have here? Leia.
Oh my God. So these will be archived at Polished Solid as well as at MDean. Please take the time to like, subscribe, help spread the word, hit that bell for notifications and all that jazz. Especially since we've been on hiatus, because we had gotten a really great momentum and then we took the break and I was like, oh no, we'll probably have to start over again. So yes, Raywin, Mr. Cope 45 himself. That's right. Oh, I love this, Nick. Yes, success is nothing. Everybody should know about that from Mahogany. Which is Mahogany to me, I don't know about you two, is one of the most depressing films ever. I love the film, but I don't like watching it because I get depressed.
You know, I will admit I've never seen
Mahogany.
I've seen bits and pieces, but just because I was just young. But that is something I will revisit as an adult and sit down and really give it a deep watch.
Yeah,
fabulous. I remember seeing. I probably seen it as a kid, but I just don't remember. But I remember seeing Diana Ross, and I just thought, like, God, who is this? You know, she just seemed like a diamond or something. You know, it's crazy. Anyway.
Is this true that Gridlock has a baseline from arrogance during a street chase? Are you going to make me watch Gridlock again? Because I don't mind.
Might be.
Yeah. Oh, mooches. You just missed all the vanity talk. We were talking about Vanity and Tanya's Island and all of that. And Mahogany is one of Andrea Dance's favorite movies. Yeah, you got to see Mahogany. It's like required viewing.
Do you know? Yes. That's just one of those songs that I can hear it and it just makes me remember when I was a kid. Like I can almost smell where I was at or something. It's just one of those songs I remember as a child hearing, but just didn't know what it was, but just made me feel a certain way when I hear it now.
Yes. All right. So this is our hashtag WDPDTW.
Yeah, let's get into some Prince.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is an independent endeavor. The State of Prince Rogers Nelson is not affiliated, associated, or connected with the What Did Prince Do This Week book club series. And we choose to be a community even when we disagree. Those are our community guidelines. We started off by playing lines from the 1991 Times Squared on Paisley Park Records. These are the players. Prince was not involved in the song. Every time I hear it, I cannot believe that Prince was not involved. Eric is an amazing composer, and this was composed by not only Eric Leeds, but also Atlanta Bliss, which is incredible. All right, so let's get into week 44, episode number 144 of What Did Prince Do This Week. There is one live appearance, and everybody should know what that is. And this is the reason why we haven't been meeting the past 3 weeks. So we're going to talk about Sunday, October 27th, 1985, the MTV interview and the America video shoot. Technically, they should be reversed, and it's the America video shoot and the MTV interview. So we're going to start our reading finally. Who wants to read? We'll probably have to split it up because it's kind of long. Who wants to start?
I can start.
Okay, you start, and when you get tired, hand it over to Celie, and then I'll take it when you get tired, Celie.
And where are we starting to read from?
Just at the top, October 27th. You can start with the quote.
27th. I'm sorry. Baby. Okay, here we go. And the quote. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
all right.
It's a Prince quote. We always read Prince.
All right. This is Prince. The band came over to do some photographs, some of which are featured on the Parade LP. And we just wanted to play really bad. I just kind of missed America. It wasn't planned, but we did it. Strangely enough, we hadn't played in a long time, and we had a lot of pent-up energy, and we may have gone overboard. Maybe I'm getting younger or wilder. I have a strange feeling that the next time we tour, it's going to be pretty ridiculous as far as the hotness goes. We have a lot of energy. Man, okay, Prince. Because the schedule for Under the Cherry Moon was tight, Prince took advantage of a day off from filming to sit down for an interview for MTV. Prince had a reputation for enjoying controversial issues and shocking critics with his ribald.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Comments and performances. But this was a structured monologue disguised as a series of questions and answers. Instead of allowing a journalist to interrogate him, the carefully crafted interview was based on questions reportedly supplied by the network in advance, but conducted by his manager, Stephen Forgnoli. Prince's response appeared designed to explain some of the issues that had come up over the last years, including his religious views, his musical influences, if he'd sold out to his Black audience, that's interesting. His father, working with Andre Simone, the information that his bodyguard had revealed about him, the incidents that occurred after the American Music Awards, and the backlash he was facing. Boy, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Prince also shot a video for America in the open-air Theatre de Verdure in Nice, dressed in the same coat he'd worn in the For the Tears in Your Eyes video, as well as the concert video with Sheila E. Prince and the Revolution performed a near hour-long concert that also included Paisley Park, Delirious, Little Red Corvette, and Purple Rain.
Dear Estate. Let's move on.
Absolutely. Quote, they set up a huge, massive circus tent that fit around 1,500 people, but there was no real ventilation going on in there, detailed Wendy. All I can remember is it was so hot in that tent and we're moving around so much that by the end of filming it, Prince and I walked off stage and they had to have oxygen tanks for the two of us because we were ready to pass out. In typical Prince fashion, even though he was shooting a video to promote the song, he updated the track when performing it live, as Eric Lees remembered. At that point, he wanted to use me and Eddie M on America, so we were in the rehearsals for that night before the night before, and there was going to be solo spots and some of the little horn riffs that he came up for us to do, and then said, "Okay, Eric's going to solo here. Eric's going to solo here." But in the middle of it, I told Prince, "I've got an idea for a more extended horn line that might work at certain parts in the song," and I played it for him. And he said, "Yeah, that's cool. So teach it to Eddie," which I did. And that's kind of the crazy horn line that's played over and over again and in between the solos. The song also contained elements from Miles Davis's Spanish Key that could be heard at 1:40 in the America video. The original lick can be found from 11:47 onward in Spanish Key from Bitches Brew, which came out in 1997. After the concert, Prince asked the band to stay in France during the production, as Matt Fink remembers. He had us fly out to Nice for 10 days, and he kept us out there for 4 weeks. He wanted us to hang out with him and just watch him film. So we went down to the set a lot. It was great. A free ticket to come to Nice and hang out. But at the same time, it was like, where's my creativity? I'm just sitting here watching some guy do his thing, and I'm not getting involved. It's just wasting my time. That is why I felt underutilized. Put me in the movie. Laughs. Give me a part and make me an extra or something. Why are you keeping us here so long? And I think I will slide off of that. But I wanted to add, that America performance, dope. I'm sure we'll talk about it. But I always felt like, and I don't know if they talked about it in here, but Prince and them must have went back over that performance and added elements to it. Because if you really pay attention to the guitar licks later when they start to break it down and he's on the drums, I'm pretty sure that's not Wendy playing that stuff. And if you really know Prince is playing, you can tell that's him funking that stuff up, man. Because I don't think, Miko's not on the stage, is he?
No.
So there's somebody else playing guitar, because there's dual things going on in certain parts. But I'm just imagining he must have been doing the thing where he would go back and add stuff to the live performance to really boost it up, make it otherworldly. But that was, I didn't pick on it back then, but watching it now, it's almost obvious. You can tell like he's added some stuff to it, but it's dope. So I'll stop here.
I'll pick up with There Was No Way, right?
Yep.
There was no way that the family could do any promotional appearances with Susanna Melvin and Jerome Benton in France, and with Prince paying for Paul Peterson to relocate to Los Angeles for dancing and acting lessons. So everything about the band stalled, including the contract negotiations. Paul was having with Prince. This is Paul, quote, "When I went to Prince and said, these things in this contract aren't right," he said, "Go talk to my manager." And I respected that. So when I went to talk to his managers, they said, "We're not changing the damn thing in there." That's when I went, "Oh, well, what are my options?" Nobody in their right mind would seek to get out of something with a guy who's on top of the world. We had been rehearsing now. This is still Paul. This is Jelly Bean Johnson talking. We had been rehearsing now for months with a 13-piece band and played one show on the first album. That's it. One show. We called the band's drummer Jelly Bean Johnson.
We're going to skip the quote.
Okay. All right. So, and this is Paul talking, right? No, this is Jelly Bean talking.
It's Celie, real quick, man. Maybe turn yourself toward the mic a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Oh, I'm still sitting like I'm listening to you read. My bad. So, and the next thing, that's what we started.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jelly Bean then continues, and the next thing I know, I'm sorry.
This Jerome.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Jerome. Thank you. And the next thing I know, through a great friend, he's being offered a record deal, and then there became a bidding war with a couple of labels, added Jerome. Of course, if the deal ain't right, you don't sign it. But one of those deals came to a head, and what do we do? I don't tell somebody not to do something because of the money. Paul had his needs. He was receiving only a certain amount of money, end quote. St. Paul felt trapped, and when he was offered a much larger contract to write and produce his own music, he began to feel that he was ready for the change. And the decision to break away from Prince was rapidly becoming a reality. You want to skip that quote or read it?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'll read this last paragraph and then hand it off to you. Yeah.
Okay.
When he saw the amount being offered, good Lord, all them zeros, it made the decision even easier. This Paul thinking, quote, I was like, there's three zeros. There's three more zeros after that paycheck. 3. So anyway, it was significant, end quote. But there was a conversation that was necessary with Prince before Peterson could leave the safety of the nest, and that happened faster than expected.
Prince found out what I was doing, and he called me on the phone. It was scary, frightening, and I was shaking. Makes me a little weirded out even thinking about it. How do you tell somebody who's invested a lot of money into you, I don't care, bye-bye? But that's exactly what I did because I had no contract. They weren't negotiating with me. The discussion became heated with Peterson holding his ground about the lack of care they'd been given. I said, if you're going to be in charge of this band, you can't do 4 million other things at the same time. He said, yes, I can. I did it with The Time, didn't I? I did it with Sheila E. I did it with Vanity 6. Prince eventually turned it all back on St. Paul. He said, what do you need? A house? I said, well, yeah. He said, well, you've got to work. I was like, what do you think I've been doing? So that was my conversation with him. And then I did call and talk with Jellybean and Jerome. And I can't remember if Eric was on the line or not, and telling them what was going on. And they said, well, you've got to do what you got to do. Go get that money. According to Paul, everyone in the band could relate. They were in the same boat with the contract negotiations. They weren't happy that I was leaving by any means. I remember Jellybean saying, baby bro, you got to do what you want to do. We'll be all right. So then there's a couple more. Then it talks about Susanna for the next 3 paragraphs. I'm going to skip back down to, I know Prince wasn't exactly pleased with me leaving, realized Paul. He did threaten a huge lawsuit, and that was nerve-wracking for a 20-year-old. As far as how it affected the others, I think they fared just fine. They all either went on to play with Prince or, in Jellybean's case, produced great records with Jam and Lewis. And Eric reflects, our first reaction was, okay, we didn't see this coming, and obviously that's the end of this project. And I think this is Eric. I think this is an Eric quote. So whatever this was going to be is not going to be. Jerome was already in Nice because he was the co-star with Prince in Under the Cherry Moon. So Jerome's relationship with Prince was certainly going to be there. I really never had a discussion with Susanna or Jellybean for a while after that. My initial reaction was, okay, this is a drag because this was a really cool album, and we were kind of looking forward to the possibility of going on tour and seeing what was going to happen with this. But since I had already been doing these things with Prince and his music, Alan immediately told me I wouldn't be too concerned because I have a feeling that Prince is going to immediately just put you in his band. And that's pretty much what happened. So I was very, very, very fortunate to have been in that situation. And it was very shortly after that, of course, that Prince decided to not only just add me, but to expand. Almost overnight, the Revolution went from 5 members to 11. And first thing he came to me and said, I want to add a trumpet. Do you know someone? I said, absolutely, Matt Bliston. Bliston was contacted and would audition for the band at the end of November while recording Mountains with Prince. He'd quickly be nicknamed Atlanta Bliss by Prince because Matt Bliston was living in Atlanta at the time. It would take a few weeks before every detail was decided, but once it was, it changed the course and the mood of next summer's tour. So there's a lot in this section.
Yeah, I'm not mad at St. Paul. I used to be back in the day. I mean, back when this was happening, I'm like, what the hell? But listening now, hearing, sort of the details. Yeah, man, he did what he had to do, man. It's unfortunate, but
You know what?
Yeah.
Let me start here, because where I'm going, people gonna think, well, you giving a pass and all this. So I want to start by saying Prince was a grown man. I want to start there. I want to start by saying Prince was a grown man. I also want to add, you have to be careful. I think the lesson we can learn from this is you have to be careful with the business relationships and people you have around them, because again, Prince has final say. But I think the managers could have handled the negotiation with Paul Peterson. And I think back to, I think it was Jill and some other people said that kind of after Purple Rain, you had business people assuming and doing things as if they had bigger roles in Prince's life than they probably should have had. And so I just think about, if you're hired to be somebody's manager or business partner, you have to do a really good job, not only respecting your client, which is Prince, but respecting the talented people around Prince. And I think that if anything, it looks like the three managers, right? Those three guys didn't have as much respect for the people around Prince as they had for Prince. Now, again, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that Prince shouldn't have done a better job with this, but this is like the third or fourth time I've heard about this negotiation, and I've always been interested in how it went. And so I would just say the lesson for me is, when I'm in business, to make sure that the person in business with me is not only on the same page in my creative vision, but on the same page as knowing how important the people around me are. I'll shut up.
Yeah, I would add to, situations like this, it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, yes.
Gate. You never, Prince's managers should not be their managers.
Yes.
And it's a record label. I mean, that we've seen that play, not just in the purple world, but you can see that in other hip hop and stuff. But that's off the gate. They should have their own management and lawyers that should negotiate with the other people. And right off the gate, that's, to me, gonna always be the problem. They have a vested interest in Prince. That's their client. They're not only invested financially, everything they got to do is into what he makes and what he's doing. So they have to serve his situation, and he's a superstar. He's the cash cow. You're coming in up through him. You're like a side group that the cash cow is sort of diverting his attention to at this particular moment. But you've seen the other groups he's done that with, so you know the play. He'll change his mind in a whim. So we're gonna stay focused on what he's doing, and he's dealing with y'all. But right. I think with St. Paul probably was seeing like, okay, I saw Jam and Lewis. I saw all the time. I came into a group. The same thing that happened is now happening to me.
Right.
So he probably was like, okay, let me get my business together. And, when you're hot like that Prince was at that time, yeah, all of the other executives and labels is trying to go get me somebody from Minneapolis. That's an immediate, we can win on that. I mean, it's just whatever that trend was. And so they was watching to see who was not being treated right. Oh, yep. You're not getting paid? Shoot, here you go. We'll give you, and of course, if Prince ain't going to do that, then yeah, you got to go. This bit is business first. So St. Paul had to go do his business, and for him to be a young 20-year-old, to have the fortitude in the game to tell the superstar and the big homie from his area that put him on, it's like, man, I'm not really getting paid. And that's got to be a scary thing to do, because, most people just go with Prince, man. You're not going to go. But, he stood up for his. So I saluted, man. Like, you did the right thing. I wish Prince and them was actually doing good business with these people. And, a leader takes care of your people so that they don't get offers outside and keep the loyalty popping. But I think it was only so much you can expect for people to do. Prince was working people. And if you're not going to, the same way you give that energy to work somebody like a workhorse, you got to feed them too.
Yep.
And if they're not getting fed, then you can't be mad if they go off and get a better offer. That's the game. You shouldn't even, and a true player, but hey man, I ain't mad at you. Go on and get yours, Playboy.
And I agree with you, and I think that's. I also want to be clear. I think from the first time I ever heard this story years ago, I always thought that Paul made the right decision. I think people in the chat, people on the screen, I think all of us have made business decisions, and you make the best decision you can make. I remember I was doing a writing gig for some people. There was some Mega Everest stuff, and then they wanted to do the other thing, and they would double my salary. It was a civil rights thing, and so I wrote the one script on Mega Everest. They wanted to double my salary, but they wanted to tell the integration of Mississippi schools in a way I was not comfortable of telling it. And I can tell you, this was like almost 20 years ago, Prof. Dustin, Brother Dean. I needed that check. And I can tell you, in fact, they not only was going, they paid me, I did do the thing for the Mega Everest, but they were going to double. So what they paid me for Mega Everest, they were going to double that for the other script. But I just didn't like, I didn't like the way they were telling the story. And so that was the most difficult thing I had to do as a broke ass writer, to say, I appreciate y'all letting me do the Mega Everest piece. I think y'all need to find somebody else. And from what I learned later, there were 2 other jobs I didn't get because the lead person was pissed off because I turned down their second gig. So I respect Paul Peterson a great deal. So I don't want to come off as I don't, I'm with y'all. I respect Paul Peterson and understand as you so eloquently put it, Brother Dean, of the difficult position everybody was in. And definitely salute to Jerome and Jellybean for, as you say, man, go get your bread.
Yeah.
Definitely salute to them. That's it. I'll set up.
You got to think too, this is when Prince was balling, like, after Purple Rain, the shift through Purple Rain, Around the World in a Day, that Christopher Tracy Prince era, high fashion, Vogue, he was balling out of control. That's when he flipped the script, like, I got money. Like, you see them cufflinks, the swoop, the hair was slick, come on now. So I can imagine, you see the head dude, he balling out of control. You like getting $140 an hour a week, like, yeah, you kind of be like, what the hell, man? We don't want to work. We can't eat, and he, like I said, and he overseas, and some of the crew is overseas, but you back home, that makes some people feel a certain kind of way. I'm sure it was like, man, how come I'm over here doing this? They over there in Nice having a good old time, shooting the next Purple Rain. I ain't in that. Like, what? There probably was a lot going on, I'm sure.
Right.
So JD Washington asked, do you think Prince intentionally instructed the business people like do the bad cop stuff?
Let me put it this way. The way it went down, remember when they tried to stop Morris from leaving and they was talking to Morris? I'll put it to you this way. I don't have any evidence to say yes. I wouldn't be surprised if Prince understood these guys can do the heavy work, can play the bad cop, and make me look good. Because at the end of the day, Prince is still signing the checks. At the end of the day, they work for Prince. Prince doesn't work for them. And so, and you have to understand, when you're the person signing the check, you don't get the luxury of saying, I don't know. If I hire Brother Dean and Prof Duff to do something for me, and they checks ain't right, I can't say to y'all, well, hey, go talk. No, we work for C. Lee. and C. Lee need to take his ass in there and get these checks right, or it's gonna be some problems. So I would say to Brother Washington that I wouldn't be surprised if that's true. And I'll just say it that way.
So I want to know how you guys feel about the counter revolution. So Edgar says, I would have loved to have seen Paul stay, but my favorite incarnation of the revolution was the extended band that was formed when Prince Incorporated most of the Family Live band, and some people call it the counter revolution. So what say you?
I loved it. And the first time I saw the counter revolution, the first time I thought, who are these motherfuckers? That's great. Like, this is the first time. Who right? And then you see him. I'm with you, Brother Cruz. I love, because again, and I know what I'm going to say is going to rub some people the wrong way. Prince was a solo artist. So for me, the disbanding of the revolution it didn't cause me any drama the way it did a lot of people. And the expanding of the revolution into the counter revolution didn't bother me. Like, I wasn't one of those people that when band members came and left, I felt some way about it, because I had been a Prince fan since 78. And so for me, and I saw Prince live three times before Purple Rain. So seeing Prince live 3 times before Purple Rain, I realized I didn't have the connection. I'm trying to think of another word that a lot of people had to what they saw in their mind as the revolution. Keep in mind, in my mind, Dez is the original guitarist of the revolution.
Right.
Because when you look at 1999, it says, and the revolution, Dez is the guitarist. So saying all that to say, I love the counter revolution because it was just another manifestation of the way in which Prince was going, and they sounded damn good. That's it. I'll say.
Yeah, at the time, I didn't even think of it as the counter revolution. I just was like, yeah, it's Prince and Revolution. There's more people up there. It was more funky. I loved it. You know, it was years later when I'm reading one of these books where I heard of, you know, the goings on with the other original band members and some of the new people and all that drama. I had no clue. I was like, what? So to me, it's just a fan. Loved it. I was like, are you kidding? Like, what is, you know, it's just even more badass. Eric Lee's and all that.
Miko.
Fantastic. Miko, yeah, all of that. It was just fantastic. You know, I was more so glued in that Prince. The only thing I really was focused on was Prince, and he just seemed to be more animated, and more bad. I was stuck on that. Didn't even really, you know, I knew who Wendy and Lisa were and all that, but aside from the horn players, I was just blown away that Prince was just way more active, and he had Jerome on stage. That was a mind blow to me. I was like, wow, this is crazy.
And so, can you put the Blade Brown quote on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. In real time, people actually had a problem with the disbanding of the revolution in real time, and that's one. And I hate doing it this way. I'm doing this just for conversation. That's one of those things where you could draw a line in the sand and say, this is not true of everybody. I want to be clear. This is an oversimplification. But you could draw a line in the sand for the people who were there before Purple Rain and the people who kind of jumped on, and they saw Purple Rain as the be-all and end-all of Prince. And they didn't see that evolution. They didn't see that growth. They didn't see that funk and rock musician before then. So there were people who actually had problems with the disbanding of the revolution and jumped off of the thing because the following bands, the counter revolution, and then when you get into the Sign of Times and Love Sexy bands, those bands were, I'll put it to you this way, y'all can read between the lines. The Sign of the Times, Love Sexy bands was a too much band of gypsies for certain people's taste. And I'll leave it at that. Now, you read between the lines, however you want to take that, but that band was too much band of gypsies for people who love what the revolution was doing. And I'll leave it at that.
So Sanit posted that there was the NAACP breathing down Prince's neck, and that there was an article about that at the time. Did you actually see that in real time, Celie? Because
no, it wasn't about the NAACP's issue didn't have anything to do with the members in his band. The NAACP issue had to do with people making comments about should 2 black men be chasing a white woman in 90 minutes for a band? I mean, 90 minutes in a movie. That was the NAACP. The NAACP issue was about the movie as much and about the crossover, but not so much about particular the movies in it. Now, if Sanique is saying he has receipts, but what I remember was I would like for you to share that article, because what I remember with the NAACP, it was about the movie, and it was about 2 black men chasing a white woman, and it didn't have anything to do with actual specific band members. But I'll stand to be corrected if the receipts are there. I may have my things out of sequence and out of order.
Yeah, so Nick, if you don't mind sending it to WDPDTW, what did Prince do this week at gmail.com, I can forward it to Celie. Because Sinek says I moved to differ and
fight. Purple fight.
Purple fight. Yeah, I would love to read the article because I didn't see it in real time.
Right.
And I know that Celie would love to read it too.
Yes.
Okay. So I got photos. I got a lot of photos for you. I love this photo. And I don't know, actually, I should remove this date. It should just say October 1980. No, actually, this had a date on it. This one actually had the date of October 26, 1985 on this particular photo. And you can see on the left is Karen Cradiger. Everybody should know who Karen Cradiger is. And then it's Brown Mark, Bobby Z, Wendy, Lisa, and Bobby Z's wife on the right. And you can see, I'm assuming, Niece in the background. Do we have anyone in here, maybe Edgar, that can confirm that? I'm sure they're like, they probably landed in Nice, I guess, but I could be wrong about that.
Pictures from Detroit. No, you know, I love about this and really speaks to it, the way they're dressed.
You
know,
I'm glad.
Now, if Prince would have been in that picture, he's totally, tricked out, but they still wear regular clothing. Like they got to kind of at least show you, like, there's Prince.
Thank you.
And then there's the rest of the world. Like they still get to be regular people. They would be wearing uniforms if they dressed as they dress on stage. But Prince, that's 24/7. And to me, that's the difference between and I love these guys, but they're still just, in one hand, they're there to, be the band, but Prince is he's the whole thing. Like, he lives it to me. So you could tell there was always going to be people being moved in and out of his situation because, they're just coming in to work and then they get dressed for work. But he's that all the time. So he'll never, you know what I mean? You can just kind of tell the difference between, even though you would think like they're just as part of it as he is, but they have an off time. He don't. Yeah.
So Demetrius is asking, wasn't Bobby Z recently married in that picture, AKA was a newlywed? I don't know, because I wasn't keeping up with the personal lives at that particular time.
So whose wedding was it that Prince made everybody leave and come to the studio?
Bobby Z's.
So I guess you
Bobby Z's, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I guess you can still consider that recently married, right?
Because it was this year, right?
Yeah.
Read about that?
Yeah.
Yep. So that's right. And so I'm glad that you said that, Michael, because when I looked at this photo, I was like, Prince is nowhere around, because no way would they be walking around in pedestrian clothes. He would not be happy. I would be curious if he saw this photo and what his thoughts would have been. And thank you, Edgar, for clarifying that it is indeed Italy and not Nice. Mm-hmm. That's why I love this community coming together to make sure we got our facts right. And yes, based on the reading, it should be a newlywed. And all right.
And I just want to add, you don't have to put it on the screen, but Lady Cab Driver, she can make that statement. But as a man, I remember one time I made that statement and I was wrong.
Yeah.
And I had hell to pay. So I'm glad that's a woman that can make that statement, because as a man, I made that mistake once and I never made it again.
Thank you so much, Edgar, for the precision. That's what we love in Prince World. I can't even pronounce it, so I'm not even going to try. But thank you for that. Really appreciate it. But 1 hour from Nice. Okay. And then this is another photo of Wendy. I love this photo, just how coordinated she is with her scarf and the bedspread and whatever else is going on with this particular bed. And the phone.
The phone is blue too.
Yeah, and the phone. So it's just like, yeah. And Kim is saying big shirts were the fashion, though. Back in the 80s. All right.
Let me ask you guys, Prince going to Nice, or, again, for me as a fan, not knowing the differences between Nice and Paris, it's just like, oh, Prince is in Paris in my mind. And what did Paris mean for you being an American artist and a Black artist to be able to, like, yo, we're moving over to Paris? Doesn't that signify like a level of success? Like, yeah, I'm on some others, like I'm over in Paris. I don't know if Paris is seen this way now in today's world, but it felt like back then that was like he was stepping off into a whole other thing. Like, oh, he international. Okay, it was like he was fancy. You know what I mean? Like that was a big deal for you to come from being this, a Black cult hero, underground almost, becoming a pop star, but then going overseas and setting up shop. That's still like wasn't that like a signal to be like, yeah, I'm really big time. I'm over here. When you back in the day, we would say, oh, you hitting over there and you hitting overseas. And if there's a Black artist to say you was hitting overseas, that meant like, oh, y'all ain't really up on me over there. They really got me popping. Y'all got to catch up. That to me, felt like that was a thing for Prince. But I'm curious what you guys think of this. Was there a thing like that?
So, I mean, like C-Lee can speak to this probably better than I can, but there has been and Kim just talked about it here. Paris for Black folks historically has been a destination. You're talking about Josephine Baker. You're talking about James Baldwin. And I mean, even Saul Williams, if you know the poet Saul Williams, he moved. I remember he was in some documentary. I think it was some Nelson George documentary, actually. And he happened to be in Brooklyn, and Nelson George was like, where do you live? And he was like, I live in Paris, baby. So like he, like even, like more recently, Paris still has this allure. And also I can tell you with some of the conversations I'm having with my friends, I have a friend who's in Paris right now, and they're thinking about moving there because they don't want to live in the States anymore. And they feel like they're more accepted over there than they are in the States. So there's always been like this ongoing conversation, but C-Lee can probably add more to that than I can.
So no, everything he says is right on. First, I don't know what I have to say this. I had the pleasure of having a poetry reading in San Antonio, Texas, of all places, with Saul Williams and Nikki Giovanni. We were on stage together. Yes, I actually saw, and at that point, Saul was just pivoting into the music. He was just pivoting into the music. So, and so because of that, actually Saul, in my book, he's in the chat. I have a chapter titled Poets Praises of Prince. And I went and found some poets because, my book is about the lyrics of Prince. And so Saul Williams is actually one of the poets that I interviewed for that. And so that's just made me smile when you talk about Saul Williams. But to your point, when I first heard about the Under the Cherry Moon project, and because of my background at that time, that's the first thing I thought it was, the Harlem Renaissance and Black people during the Harlem Renaissance who were going to Paris. You also think about jazz. Paris was very influential in jazz artists feeling a sense of freedom and independence, right? I'm glad TP put Richard Wright, and I'm still in contact with Richard Wright's oldest daughter. And so I talk a lot to Richard Wright's oldest daughter a great deal. So yes, there's really nothing to add to what you said, other than when I heard it in 1986, that's the first thing I thought was Prince is being in the tradition. Prince understands metaphorically what France represents to Black culture, and he's leaning into that, which is why I always thought that Under Cherry Moon would have made a great rewrite as a movie about the Black mulattoes in Paris. But that's another discussion for another time. I'll shut up. So I think all of y'all are right on top.
Yeah, and I love this comment because I'm a huge Doors fan. And if you don't know, Jim Morrison was the lead singer of the Doors, and he moved to Paris shortly before he passed, and his grave is actually in Paris still. So
that's that little screen thing there. That's the article don't know if you see that at the
Oh,
bottom.
yes. Hold on. Like, why can't, let's see. There we go. All right. So this is, thank you. This is from Sinik. Thank you so much. And it says, at press time, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People was launching a campaign to pressure the branch distributed major record companies to hire more Blacks. According to the LA Times, the NAACP is pursuing fair share pacts with the majors. NAACP also singled out Tina Turner, Michael Jackson, Lionel Richie, Diana Ross, and Prince as Black artists who have excluded Blacks from their operations, charges denied by the artists' reps.
Can we stop there? Yes, this is why it did connect for me. Yes, I remember this article. That ain't got a damn thing to do with the revolution. I remember this. The NAACP was saying that record companies were not hiring Black executives. Record companies were not hiring Black people in upper office, and they were saying that the Black artists have to do a better job helping to get Black executives hired. This didn't have anything to do about the band. They were saying that Tina Turner, Michael Jackson, Lionel Richie, Diana Ross, Prince, you guys are Black artists who are not standing up for that. When you walk in, so for instance, when you walk into a set or something, where the Black cameramen, where the Black ADs, where the Black showrunners, where are the Black people who can sign? That's okay. So that's why I missed. Yeah, I definitely remember that article, but it got thrown because the point was that the point I think that was made, and Brother Sani can replace me, that it was like, oh, Prince fired the revolution because of this article. That article had nothing to do with the revolution. That article that's the NAACP. It probably is, Sani, but that article had everything to do because you're talking to someone who knows the history of the NAACP, worked around it, worked with it. I remember that. That article was about the NAACP pressuring record companies to hire executives. It had nothing to do with artists. It had nothing to do with bandmates. That's what threw me. That's what confused me. So I'll shut up. So, but yeah. So if there's more on there, please read. I didn't mean to go. But yeah. So I remember that. In fact, I remember that moment because we were card-carrying members of the NAACP. Like I had to go to NAACP meetings. Right. My wife is still the state treasurer of the NAACP. My wife goes to work in Medgar Evers' office every day. She gets the privilege to go work in Medgar Evers' office every day. So I remember that, and I remember that campaign, and that campaign was about hiring executives at the corporate level. It didn't have anything to do with the band or the musicians, and they were saying that as Black artists, you have a responsibility to make sure, because you can put the pressure to say, hire some people.
Okay, I think we're at a moment where we're going to agree to disagree right now, and we're going to thank you.
We need to have a special show for this.
Yes.
Let these brothers get it pop.
All right.
Purple debates.
Let me see.
Podcast juice.
All right. So this was, I don't know, Edgar, can you help me with this? Like, do you know, like, if this was a press release or it was in a local newspaper? But basically, this was posted in Nice, October 22nd, 1985, Video Clip America. The public is invited to attend the rehearsals and filming of the new video clip by Prince and his group, The Revolution, for his new song, America, on Sunday, October 27, 1985, at the Theater de Verdure in Nice at 7 p.m. In return, audience members may be filmed and they will be asked to participate according to the directions of the stage production. Spectators are asked to respect the work of the artists and technicians during filming, in particular by not leaving during the recording. Spectators carrying cameras or recording equipment will not be admitted inside the venue. Spectators will be assured of the appreciation and thanks of Prince and his group.
And back then, when you're talking about cameras, they weren't talking about this. They talking about big ass. That was the only cameras you had back then. Right. So you would look mad goofy walking in. Like, what is
the camcorder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cell phone back then.
Yes. All right. So I mean, just so you, I'm going to stop because I don't want to stir up any. But Keith is I'm not trying to. I'm just showing that. Yeah, no, I'm not, because you know me. I don't like drama. Okay, so here is the ticket to the and then the back of the ticket. So the invitation says Prince and the Revolution at the theater. I'm going to stop trying to pronounce it because I know some of you going like, don't do that. Like Sunday, October 27th, 1985 at 7 p.m. No entry will be permitted after 7:15 p.m. So you need to be on time. And this invitation is valid for one person only on the date indicated above and under the conditions specified on the reverse. And so the reverse is basically similar to what we just read. So I'm not going to reread it. It's not the same, but it's pretty much very, very similar. So that's the front of the ticket and the back of the ticket. And then this is where things get exciting, and it's really hard to read. And I tried to adjust the contrast of this, but it was kind of hard to do. But these are these are the call sheets from For America, and it is printed on, you know, the letterhead of Prince's managers at the time, Cavallo, Ruffalo, and Fargnoli. And what I find interesting about the first call sheet is that it says that there are 200 crowd extras. So there were 200 people in the crowd. That must have been an amazing privilege. And then on the second sheet, underneath leading artist, it lists Prince, Bobby Z, but it says Bobby Rifkin, Mark Brown, Matt Fink, Lisa Coleman, Wendy Melvoin, Eddie M, Eric Leeds. And actually, before I forget, so during the Pop Life 40 symposium that we had earlier this year, I had the privilege of asking Eric Leeds and Eddie M separately about this performance. So if you haven't listened to those interviews and you want to hear their own, you know, like Eddie M's and Eric Lee's own words, I think you should go back and listen to it, because I thought it was interesting, because I'm so used to Eric Leeds and Atlanta Bliss being on stage together, you know, and then I mean, obviously like during the Purple Rain tour, Eddie M and Eric Leeds were on stage all the time. But like during this particular era, it was really rare to see both Eddie M and Eric Leeds on the same stage. So I thought it was really interesting to get the perspective of this amazing shoot from both of them. And obviously, I'm not going to talk about what Eric says, but Eric tells a story that I had never heard him tell before about the line that he plays in America, which I've always thought was incredible. And you should just hear that story from Eric Leeds. I'm not trying to be all strange, but it's just like Eric Leeds is the best person to tell that story, and I wouldn't be able to tell it like he could. So
it's a great conversation.
Yeah, it really, really was. So in addition to the band, we already know that Karen Cradinger is here because we saw her in the photo in Italy. Thank you so much, Edgar. But also, so Karen Cradinger is listed as a road manager alongside Alan Leeds. What's interesting is that Alan Leeds wasn't in that photo, but I'm sure Alan was probably with Prince or something. And then also Roy Bennett was also in charge of the lighting, which is really great because it looks really beautiful. All right.
So, question for you guys. What do you guys think of the interview? Like in the perspective of MTV, like they're the ones who showed it. Do you think that, I mean, obviously it wasn't an interview per se, you know, it was almost sort of a curated, you know, I don't want to say it's agenda driven in terms of definitely he wants to present a certain particular image of himself and answer some of these questions, but it's not as if a reporter or a journalist is asking him questions. You know, these are things that his manager is saying to him, and they, I imagine, have control of the edit and everything else that's going on with this. If this happened, I don't know, this might have been an issue back then, but if this happened today and a major TV channel was to put out, it was supposed to be an interview by an artist, but no journalist was involved in this, and it was just sort of given to them by the artist. Wouldn't that be, that would seem kind of weird? Like, is this a promotional thing or is this a real interview? You know, it was interesting. It just really seemed to blur the lines between an interview or you wanted to get your point across, which is his right to do. But I just always thought it was interesting that it's not a real interview, even though it's presented to us as if it is. And I'm just curious what you guys' thoughts are.
So that's a good point. So a couple of things. Yes, not a real interview. Was sold to us as a real interview. That was not unnormal for the times. I think that we have forgotten with TMZ News and the way media coverage has changed. You know, prior to what was the rag, not TMZ, what was the magazine that had all
National Enquirer.
National Enquirer. So prior to the National Enquirer and those kind of things,
which he is, just to say, he's responding to something that was in the National Enquirer,
right, exactly,
as well, right?
Exactly. It was quite common for these kind of setup or puff interviews to kind of be done, not to this extent. So understanding it that way and remembering it in real time, I was just happy to hear Prince talking. Let me just start there.
Sure.
I was just happy to hear Prince talking. And then secondly, for the people who say, well, this wasn't a real interview, and this is good because this gets us to the point where I know we're still in the chat going back and forth about the NAACP thing and all that. Listen to that interview. Prince is responding to all of the issues that people are saying about him. And so the issue about selling out your black fans, that wasn't an NAACP issue. That was a black people issue. So for people to make that an NAACP issue, again, for those of us who were Prince fans before Purple Rain, see, let's get the timeline straight. For those of us who were Prince fans before, let's be clear. Prince was accused of selling out by a lot of people in the black community. Prince was accused of not being black enough because of Purple Rain. There was a great article on when the concert opened in St. Louis. There was a brother in the audience yelling, "Play Erotic City, motherfucker!"
Yeah.
How come you ain't playing Erotic City, motherfucker?
Okay.
If we want to, let's put it all out here. Let's deal with it because we want to pick and choose. So when Prince is responding to that, he's not responding to the NAACP. It's convenient to make it he's responding to no. That was a good number of black people who looked at Purple Rain and saw what was happening in Purple Rain and thought we had lost Prince to the sellout. There were a good number of people who thought that Purple Rain was rather weak and puff. Like they didn't see it as funky and as edgy as what Prince had been doing in the past, even though you had Darling Nikki on it. So I'm saying all that to say, you can call it a fake interview. I give Prince credit for responding to the criticism. You may not like his response. You may not like who controlled the interview. But if you listen to that interview, there's not one thing that Prince addresses that wasn't already in the zeitgeist. There was not one thing in that interview that Prince is addressing that wasn't said. So I think it's a little disingenuous to say it's not a real interview when at the same time, Prince is addressing all of the negative criticism about himself at the time. I'll shut up.
Yeah, well, I would say he definitely addresses those, but it's not an interview though. It's like, like an interview is somebody asking you questions and they being able to follow up those questions. I don't know if there was any follow up if your manager is reading off a script, right? Like,
right.
But again, I get what you're saying,
right?
But it's just interesting. I almost question. I don't understand why MTV is gonna play it. Why? But then they're not journalists either. Like it's all promotion, right? The whole channel was just a promotional thing, but it's being used in a sort of way that is like an interview. But it's just interesting because you never heard Prince speak before on camera outside of being on the stage or in that movie. So it was a lot going on with that presentation of that, and it had been some years from Purple Rain, and we hadn't really seen him. And then you see this new version of him, and he's, I think it's great because he's laughing and smiling. You don't see that part of Prince. I think that stuff overshines the fact that when you find out later, like, this was just a piece to sell the movie essentially and get him back in your great graces because of the backlash that you just mentioned was going on with everything. So it's just an interesting thing. Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question, Brother Dean?
Absolutely.
So, press junket for movies.
Mm-hmm.
Movie stars go on press junkets, right?
Yep.
The handlers say to the people, we're only answering these questions.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make that press junket not a real interview?
To me, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, just from a journalistic point of view.
Right.
But if you agree to it, I mean, you're like in today's world, right? You have a lot of traditional press, and you have a lot of like YouTubers and influencers that do these things, and they get to ask the questions they want. They just can't ask. There are certain ones. Maybe Marvel doesn't want you asking about the next movie or something. But again, those questions are those limitations are there to protect their business, not to, not for any journalistic purposes. For them, it's a business, so it ain't gonna make no money for them to have you asking questions that may make their client look bad. But I just think that all should be told up front. As you're a viewer, you need to understand what you're watching, so you don't think that they're just being straight out honest with you. They're trying to push whatever narrative they want to, but it's not necessarily an interview. Like if somebody asks, if I did an interview and somebody said, I don't want to talk about certain things, I can make the agreement if I want to do that or not. Or maybe I may say, you know what? Well, then this ain't really a puff piece, player. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really want to do that, but I'm going to let you know up front.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying. I guess I'm splitting hairs on whether you call it an interview or not. Like I get what you're saying. I mean, we can have words like investigative journalism. But I just
imagine if it was a politician and they said that, which I'm sure they do. But you need to know up front that that politician he don't want to talk about that because it's uncomfortable for them. But not because they didn't ask that.
But I think that people have that in every type of interview. Like I think even if there's a hard-hitting investigative interview, if I'm articulate enough,
right,
I can spin things right. If I'm not articulate enough, then I may get caught off guard by let's say a person. But if I'm articulate enough and headed enough, I can spin that as well. So
right. But the difference is this is the extreme of that because there ain't no journalists involved at all.
Right.
It's purely just so I mean, for them to spin it that way, that's not the extreme case. Yeah, of course, a smart Prince in his later years is able to. You don't need to do that. You can ask him whatever, and he can either not say it or he's very intelligent to spin it the way he wants to. But I'm just saying at that particular point, there wasn't none of that going on. It was the exact opposite. There was no questions. So when there's no questions being asked, that ain't an interview to me. That's a press release.
All right. And I guess I would say in remembering and listening to it, my question is, what isn't asked that should have been asked? And I'm not putting you on the question. I'm not saying that you should answer that now. I'm just thinking about remembering all of the key points that were surrounding around Prince, right? It was I think we had the We Are the World thing. We had the Are You Selling Out? Are You Black Enough? Right. I'm thinking about when I remember watching that thinking, they addressed all of those things. And my question is to anybody who would look at that as not whatever it was happening, what was happening at that time in the culture that needed to be asked or addressed that would have been my question. And again,
my response to that would be that's not the issue.
Okay.
It's not the issue of what they ask. It's the issue of this person's telling you this is something that it's not.
Okay.
That's it. It's just an honesty thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all it is.
Okay, I get that makes sense.
So I'm gonna come in with a different perspective. Like in real time, whether you call it an interview or not, I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread.
Absolutely.
In real time, I loved this interview because for me, it was a precursor to like Under the Cherry Moon, you know, not having seen Under the Cherry Moon. I was like, what is going on with Prince? Like, he's so fun. He's like, he's so open. He's talking to us. Oh my God.
That was the point of it.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, I thought it was incredible. It was like, it's, you know, and you know, this image here, you know, like everybody knows what he's saying right here. You know, cufflinks like this cost money. And, you know, don't you like surprises? Right? It's just like so many amazing Prince-isms in that. And I think it's just like really great. So I don't want to miss that Edgar posted in Europe. We got a slightly different version of the interview with Wendy.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And just so you know, Edgar, according to the book, Duane's book, and as far as I know, it's actually Stephen Fargnoli, not Alan Leeds, who's actually asking the questions. I think it's Stephen Fargnoli. But I have never heard of Wendy's voice in this interview. So now I want to hear this. So,
which is actually even more interesting if you think about that. Like so not only did they have the manager reading it, but then they edited it and went, I guess, and had the band members after the fact go back and ask those questions as if they answered them and presented that to the people. If that is what happened. I mean, there's just a level of, you know, that's extreme PR from his camp, which I'm not mad at, but I'm just saying it's interesting that even they went to that level with it. And again, my comparison is, and I'm saying is really for my people of today, or my young folks, they're so used to seeing these interviews on Breakfast Club and all these different things where the artists are on there. And it's not to say that on the Breakfast Club or some of these other major platforms, they are not taboo topics that the artist doesn't want to ask, but it's just we're just in a different part of society where there's a lot more openness to some degree. You see these people asking these questions and they have these long conversations, where back then when it was a superstar, it was way more structured and it was never going to leave any regard to somebody asking some sort of gotcha question or any question that would somehow hurt the artist in any way. And, you know, I think a part of Prince, his whole thing was so structured and curated to what he allowed us to see of him. I'm just saying this was one of the major sort of moments where you really was in control of his program and nothing was left to chance, you know. So I think it's important to see it's a little different now, but at the same point, we don't know how deep that type of stuff goes today too, right? I'm sure there are interviews that we think are legitimately being presented to us and they are doing that to make us have a certain reaction to it, where there may be some funniness going on behind the scenes and then not really asking that question, or it was scripted. But I just think it's always important to point that out, whether I love the artist or not, you know. And I love Prince, and like I love this one. I still love it today because it just shows me a new Prince, but I understand what I'm watching too. Right.
No, I understand. I mean, like, but again, just trying to give context of 1985. I mean, I was just excited that Prince was talking to us and he was happy and having fun. Cynic had posted.
Well, the last thing I want to add. I guess the question is, you think about, was he really happy and having fun? That's the thing. Obviously, he wants to present that image to you, but now it makes me question if it really was like that, because now you know they edited to have Wendy asking questions that she wasn't asking the damn thing when they have. So I'm just saying it makes me even have more questions. Like, was he really having fun, or he really was trying to protect? Like, yeah, he ain't gonna have me out here looking crazy, you know. Which I respect that too. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess. So it's funny that you would have that, but you know, let me be clear. You're a great interviewer, right? I want to start there. So you are a great interviewer. I put the link in your interview with the gentleman who wrote the Prince Sign of Times book.
John McKee.
John Mike. I put that link in the newsletter Friday. You did a superb job. I would say that I guess I don't have those kind of thoughts, but then I will say this, because I was kind of hesitant. I'm glad I watched the interview, because I was kind of hesitant about reading that book, because I think and because I didn't want to say something. I'm not the biggest Breakfast Club fan, so I don't want to make it about that. How should I just stop and say? I think that because when you make that, was he really happy? Was he really this? You know, I'm an art person, not an artist person. I care about art. My parents, here's how I was raised. A guitar player is no different than a plumber. An actor is no different than a carpenter. So if I don't need to know about my carpenter's marriage and life, well, I need to know about my guitar player's marriage and life. So,
well,
I'm not asking. I'm just saying for me.
Sure.
That when I'm thinking about art, like I wrote a 600-page book on Prince, and there's only one paragraph about his personal life. I was interested in the analysis of the lyrics from an artistic, theoretical point.
Sure.
I'm interested in art from an artistic, analytical point. That's just, and I realize now I'm in the minority of that. So that you just made me think about when you said that question about was he happy then? That would not have been something about which I would have been thinking, because I am just now coming into this notion that more people are concerned about the personal and private lives of the people.
Absolutely.
And how that connects to their art. And for me, that's the most far-fetched thing. Like, I don't understand, because here's what I think that does. I think that the world in which we live in now, people, and I'm going to use this phrase, people are famous today because people fucks with them and not because they talented. I think what the internet has done, I think what Instagram has done, is that people are famous because they look at people and go, I fucks with that person because of their lifestyle, as opposed to, is that person really talented? And I am the exact 180 degrees opposite. I could give a damn about your personal life. Can you play the guitar? I could give a damn about your personal life. Are you a great baseball player? And so for me, I think that's why and I think that what has happened is we have promoted a lot of art that for me isn't that well crafted, because we fuss with that person as opposed to that person being talented. I'll shut up.
I agree with the sentiment of it, but like you said, we wouldn't be doing this podcast. It wouldn't be a lot of books. People wouldn't be in mourning if they only cared about the art. They just go listen to the music. D'Angelo just passed. We love the music, but it hurt us that he's not here. When Questlove just put up that great tribute that he did to D'Angelo and Rolling Stone, he's given almost a human side of D'Angelo that we didn't get to see in certain moments. When we talk about Prince, we're happy to see him smiling in this. We're not happy that he's playing music. We do care about the personal lives of people that move us in our personal lives. Though we probably should just only focus on the work that person does, we can't deny that there are certain artists that it bleeds through. And we do care. We want to see them happy. We want them to be doing good. There was people that was concerned about Prince later on and wondering what was something going on with Prince. So you say, hey, don't pray for me. Wait till there's something really going on, because he wanted to have an image that he was good. But now we realize he wasn't. So we do care about how people are doing, particularly those artists that we love, and we love Prince. And so the same way we don't like to hear somebody saying nothing bad about him, we care about that, right? That's why we push back. But if we just cared about the music, we wouldn't care about what anybody said about him. But we do care. We're human beings. We're not going to just stop at the gate and, oh man, you played a great guitar, but you might be living in filth. I don't care. We do care. We do want, so I just think, man, there are certain artists, and we're Prince fans, so we absolutely care that he was happy or that St. Paul was doing good. We didn't just care if he just played on the record. We wanted his business to be tight. So I just think we do care about these people, and even sometimes there's things that are uncomfortable about them. But like I said, I think we care. We would not be in this position that we are today if we didn't feel deep about these artists and celebrities. Whether we should or shouldn't is another question. But my point is to say they know we care about them, right? And I think Prince knew that people love me. I want to protect that what I have. And so this was an effort to make sure that I want to reassure y'all that, yeah, not this ain't that. Because he didn't just speak about the music. He's talking about all this other stuff. So it does kind of matter. Otherwise, he would have never did this thing in the first place. He'd have just said, go listen to the music. Right. So I think there's both of it, but you can't separate how you feel emotionally about something you love.
I'll just say I'm in the minority. I can't. Like I'll be honest with you. I
think you do, doggy, but I understand what you say.
Like I don't. But I want to answer Brother Andre asked a question about the PMRC.
Mm-hmm.
He was asked, and he answered it. In fact, I wrote an article where I quoted the answer. He said that I think parents have a right to know what their children are listening to. That's an art code. That's not a personal life question. Like that's an actual question about art. That's in fact things I say, hey, what do you feel about people slapping these labels? And he said, hey, I think parents should know what their children are listening to. To me, that's a fair artistic question. I'm much more interested in something like that. I've never been interested in who you're married to, who you're dating, your breakups. But I want to be clear. I realize I'm in the super minority. I realize that I am in the super duper minority. And so, and one thing I had to learn to tell people, I can't tell somebody else how to be a fan. Right? I have to realize that. And so what I do is I tend not to, if it's articles and books that are not discussing exclusively making of music, those tend to be the things that I'm not as interested in watching and leading. And I want the things that are going to talk about artistic theory and what it means to be a musician and how you crafted this art. Those are things that interest me. But again, I realize I'm in the minority. I'll shut up.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably argue America's way more concerned of all that other stuff than it is the artist. Right? It's not a cottage industry. It is the industry is based off of, like you just said, the stars of today are stars because of their personality. They ain't stars of some artistic craft. Their personality is because that's what we really do care about.
Brother, I'll give you a perfect example. My father had like a 25 year subscription to Ebony. Mm-hmm. When Ebony began the series of showing stars houses, my father canceled the subscription because he was like, and his words was, what the fuck they got to do with Black liberation and artistic talent? And that's kind of where I got my cue. Like, do I really need to see somebody's house or how somebody is living? And so, and then I guess that set the parameter for me. But my father canceled his, he'd been an Ebony subscriber for 25 years. And once they started doing that, he completely, so I know he'd be losing his mind today if he was allowed on social media. I shut up because I appreciate everything. And I want to say this, if you have not seen the Brother Dean interview with, is it Mackey?
John McKee.
John McKee. I really did enjoy that interview more than I thought it would because there you go. So yeah. So thank you for that.
Have you started reading that yet at all?
Well, I started watching your interview. I haven't finished it, and I am going to be very honest. When I started watching your video, first of all, let me give some context in case people don't know what we're talking about. So this is a brand new book by John McKee, and the name of the book is Prince, A Sign of the Times. So like you, Michael Dean, because you say this at the beginning, I assumed that this was about Sign of the Times. Mm-hmm. And then when I got the book and I just started going through all of the photos in the book, I was like, why are these other photos in here? This isn't these are not all about Sign of the Times. This is about all of, Prince's career. So I was disappointed from jump just when I got the book and I opened it up and there's pictures of not exclusive.
Not Sign of the Time related.
Yeah. So I was like, what the H like C-League does? And then I started watching your conversation with him and you confirmed like Yeah, it's not about Sign of the Times. It's like about a lot of other. So I must say that I got a little sad. And to be honest, I stopped watching. So I need to complete watching it. And can I say one more thing, Celie? Just because I feel like the same thing happened with the Sign of the Times Deluxe box set. I was all excited that we were finally going to concentrate on the Sign of the Times era. Like, we can have debates about the album, but the Sign of the Times era, and the band with no name and all that, and then it's not. So I kind of got the same, like, when are we going to just concentrate on Sign of the Times? And I know there's another book on Sign of the Times, but it's very academic and all of that. So I'm sorry, Celie, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the one thing, again, I don't know if you got this far into the interview, was interesting when he said that, and I got out, like, okay, I get what he's doing. When he said that he wanted to take each song and analyze each song as kind of like a pie chart of how you would see Prince. And so he's looking at each song and analyzing each song and say, what does this song tell you about Prince, right? And again, that's not something for me that I'm necessarily interested in. But once he did that, I went like, oh, okay, I get it for folks who are interested in that. And then again, one thing about Brother Dean is he can make anybody geek out on Prince, and so I liked that part of it too. So I'll probably still order it after seeing the interview, just simply because it's a resource, it's a reference, and also you interview 200 people, you gotta, but I said that was for me. It was so I'll shut up. Go ahead.
So I want to tie this back to the conversation you and Michael were just having in terms of this book, this new book. So with all these interviews that he did, was it about his personal life, or was it about the music, or was it like both? Like, where does this book sit? For instance, I give you an example. Like, I don't know if I have it, Matt Thorne's book, because it's all about the music. It's like all about like the B-side is very, very dense. And even the author of this book, when he was talking to you, he said like, there's already Duane's book, there's already Matt Thorne's book in terms of like the diehard, going deep in the weeds kind of thing. So what is his approach for this book? Because I haven't started reading it yet.
I would say it is themed around Sign of the Times, but it also gives a history lesson, I suppose, of overall Prince's career, whether it's business, personal, and it will dive into both because he's speaking to personal people, or pulling other elements from other interviews into it. So I look at it almost as a compilation of probably the last 5 years of his interviews and interviews that everybody else has done, told in a narrative to follow Prince's career. But you start off going through the album. So I would say for a person who hasn't really read a lot of Prince books, maybe you're getting into your journey of Prince, I would recommend you read this book, because I think it gives an even, feel of both that you can go on to reading some of these other ones and go deeper into. Maybe you just want to go deeper into the music or deeper into the studio sessions that this may just sort of hint a little bit at. Or maybe I want to go read my taste book, and this can give you a little bit of that type of stuff too, so, and it doesn't, it's not like holding back, but it also isn't like making Prince look crazy or nothing either. It's just like, wow, this guy was a superstar. Like, and how does a superstar and a person like Prince deal with other people by doing all this great stuff? He presents him as a human, in my opinion. So he doesn't make him look like a bad guy. He doesn't make him look like a saint. You can tell he's a fan. And I don't know how big the book would be at all, but it's, for me, like I said, a person who's read and heard all of it, a lot of it I knew, but a lot of it I had forgotten, or just never, I thought it was just going to be about this, but I was like, oh, okay, I could see how these could be related, or That's an interesting point type of thing. And then there's just people. I think the biggest thing that came away from me was the parts with the lady from Slow Love. I just didn't know that situation.
Yeah,
and to read it, I was a little like, wow, that's my man. But just like anybody else in the world, you know, we had our good times, we had our bad times, and we learned some lessons, and we did it. But I had no idea that had happened, and that was just interesting. But it is weird.
I don't really know the Carol Davis story, but I mean, we just read about.
I'll save it. Yeah.
You know, but we just read about St. Paul, right? So, I mean, there's always, you can also talk about vanity. There are narratives throughout with people who have worked with him around money. So
and with that one, it was cool because it not only deals with the, in real time back when it was going on when they first were doing this stuff, but it also goes into now time with her and the estate and still trying to get that situation right and different things. Yeah. And so it's just interesting, like, wow, it's not just something that happened back in the 80s.
Got it.
Even in the current day, it's very relevant.
Now, Sinek posted this a gazillion years ago, but I don't know if Sinek is still here. I don't know what you're talking about. Do you know, Michael or Seagley, what he's talking about?
I don't even know who Bro 2 is, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I recently seen something, I don't know if it's TikTok or something, and it was saying like, it was showing clips from this interview, but it was saying it was from the unedited version, which I didn't know there was an edited version. I don't know if they were showing stuff that I'd seen before. I wasn't paying too much attention. I don't know if that's what he's talking about.
So could y'all tell me who that is? I have no idea who that is.
Oh, maybe he meant B-roll.
Oh, B-roll. Oh, okay. B-roll.
Maybe this is what I saw then.
All right. So, okay. So I actually have the unedited version in the accompanying playlist.
Okay.
So it's in the accompanying playlist at the bottom. If you go to my YouTube channel, all the way at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I didn't know what B-roll stuff. I didn't get the B-roll.
Okay.
But I was like, I thought it was a name, and then, to be honest, I thought it said Bro 2, and I was like,
that's what I thought. I thought it was Bro 2. That's what got me. I thought it was Bro
2. Okay, all right, got it. I'm a little slow, Nick, so just FYI. All right.
Yeah, but I like the undeleted interview or whatever we're calling it. Like now, I liked it. I'm glad, and I'm glad people like Sanika doing that kind of work where we're getting to see all those things. So I'm very appreciative of folks like Sanik and other people who and D68A, and there's another guy, was it Duane something? That you know, those are 2 or 3 of the channels that I like. So I really appreciate that they're doing that kind of work, keeping those things out there so we can see them.
Okay, so Sanik is saying there's more than that. There's raw footage that shows the prep and everything, satellite feed. Okay.
Let's check that out.
All right.
And I'll just say this. There are things like that I like. And I'll tell you the stuff I'll tell you the stuff, and there's stuff that I don't like. Like for me, the Sign of the Times rehearsal footage. I remember when I got the Sign of the Times rehearsal footage on the VHS, like when it was being bootlegged for the first time. And I was like, oh, this, you know, I put it in. I was just like, it was just the most boring thing I'd ever seen in my life because it's just that. Like I go, duh, it's rehearsal footage. Like it's thinking of like I remember I was like all excited, like yes, and I go like, nah, this is just rehearsal for the damn movie. Okay, so yeah. Anyway.
All right. Okay. So I still got stuff to share. So this is more, we're going back to the call sheets. I'm sorry, but I want to do this. So Jeff Katz is the still photographer who's listed. This is really important to me because Jeff Katz is one of my favorite photographers. Also, Gilbert Davidson is listed as security. Also for makeup, we have Robin Lynch and along with Michelle Bueller. And for hair, we have Earl Jones, who's Jill Jones's uncle, as well as Theory. I can't pronounce the last name, so I think probably someone that's actually over in France. And it's just like, just looking at these call sheets, it just lets you know, like, all these people were working on this one video, and then the video obviously turns into a performance. But before we get to the performance, here is also something that I because I'm a nerd. I'm sorry. And this is the camera setup, and I wasn't aware that there was a 4-camera setup. I've never done this is a different camera. Oh, this is a different camera. So to find out that this was a 4-camera setup was actually pretty interesting. So again,
Wow.
you go back.
Where did you find this from? This is amazing.
Someone sends me things.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And so I think this is what I geek out on. And remember, Roy Bennett is doing the lighting and all that. So yeah. Okay. Photos. So America had 2 takes. So this is actually from the first take. And look at Eric on the left side with his hat on. It's like a different Eric, because I think of Eric now. I mean, when I think of Eric Leeds, I think of Eric Leeds now. And even though I remember this in real time, it's just so funny for me to see Eric then. And then I love this guitar. It's actually the guitar that's on the cover of Duane's book to actually connect it to what we're reading. And you can see he has on his Christopher Tracy coat, which I absolutely love. And he got that coat from Wally. And then he has on this red, the red pants and all of that. And then these are some more shots.
We need to see this. This is killing me.
That picture in the middle was on a really famous calendar years ago.
Huh.
I remember that picture in the middle being on remember they used to do those Prince calendars. I can't remember who was doing them, but I always loved that picture in the middle because it was that Prince calendar. That's it.
Yeah. And then let's see.
Man, this is my teenage years right here.
Yeah. And I love this guitar. I was so happy with I love Duane's cover for the second book. Like, this is my cover. I love this cover. And one of the reasons why I love this cover is because of the guitar, because we don't get to see this guitar a lot.
Right.
And
it's like almost like a missing era that we never really got to see.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, indeed. All right. And then let's see, here's some more shots. I love the shot at the bottom. You can see Eddie M in the background. And let's see. Okay, we got a Dear Estate moment from Blade Brown. So, Dear Estate, include era-specific rehearsal tape footage. Yes. DVDs, Blu-rays with remastered special deluxe releases, please. Yes.
Including this whole set.
Yes,
Yeah.
including this whole set. Exactly.
I was saying I thought this would have been something that would have been with the Around the World in a Day thing. But even if they just put it digitally,
yeah. And here's some more shots. Oh, I messed up on that one. And then let's see. I love this one. It's a great shot. This photo is by Sophie Bramley. And when
bandana.
Yes.
So can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
So we know there were 2 performances of America. My question has always been, and I think you covered it, I guess I just forgot. Were the 2 performances of America from 2 different sets?
No, it was back to back.
Okay. That's what
I'm going by Prince Vault. I mean, according to Prince Vault, is actually back to back, because I wore that myself for a while. And let's see.
So did he just change? Oh, never mind.
Okay, so this is the first take.
Okay.
And then this is the second take, which is what we know from the video.
Okay.
Right. And the thing is, like, this video meant the world to me then, and it still means the world to me today. And the reason why it meant the world to me, and I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again in case we have some new people. This was the first time we actually saw Prince performing drums live. At least that was the first time I saw Prince performing drums live. I mean, obviously we had the video from the Prince album where he's playing all the instruments, but it was a video. It wasn't like in a live context, but this was actually live. And then this purple guitar again, him in this hat, because this is the first time I remember seeing this hat, and him with the bandana. Like, this whole look was like totally new.
Yep.
And like this Wally, I call it the Wally coat, or the Christopher Tracy coat. It was like totally new, and it was like, I can't remember if this coat was ripped at this time. It's ripped at the bottom behind, and I always thought, like, why is Prince wearing this rip? But I grew to love it. So yeah, and Edgar was saying there was a wardrobe change,
right,
to the black pants, because before we had the other, the red pants.
Man, this had such an effect on me when this came out. I went and got the trench coat. Had the Jerry curl already, but I had to style it like Christopher Tracy. And so if you're going to imagine, I was been 16, 17, maybe, a brother working at McDonald's. Had a McDonald's uniform on, the McDonald's hat. Used to have a little hat that went up. You can imagine taking that off and then putting all this on at McDonald's and walking out thinking I'm Christopher Tracy. Like, you couldn't tell me, goddamn.
I'm like, y'all, this was just, for me, somebody who just grew up around live music, when this video dropped, it just didn't get any better for me. Like, to me, this was even more than the Purple Rain VHS. And I love that Purple Rain live VHS. This was another one of those. My favorite artist is one of the greatest live performers of all time. Like, this was, and having my father and my uncle would sit and watch this video and give props. Like, they was giving props to James Brown and Jimi Hendrix and that kind of thing. This was just, for me, this was the video where there are no more questions. There are no more anything. This dude, he was, as the young people say today, he was him when it came to being live. That's it.
All right. I love this comment from Lady Cab Driver 72. I was obsessed with Mary Sharon's headdress and the record store scene, so much so that I didn't go to my prom, because if I couldn't find a headdress like that, I didn't want to go. And Edgar says, I still wear trench coats like this. It's a cool look. All right. So these are some more pictures from this particular performance, because he would go on to perform more songs for the crowd who was there. Paisley Park was one of the songs. He also does Let's Go Crazy. He does Purple Rain. Like, I would love to see this entire set. But here's some more pictures. These are by Richard Malone, if I'm saying that correctly. And these are some really fantastic photos. And I don't remember seeing this again, like this red fit with all of this color. And I love this shot of Prince and Wendy over on the left. And here's some more shots.
And you can really see the, coming out of Around the World in a Day and sort of transitioning into the next thing,
And I think people should know, like, who weren't there. Some of these pictures like came out in real time. Like, these pictures were in, like someone said, Black Beat and Rock and Soul. And I remember having some of these pictures cut out and on the wall or in the post. And so what it did for me was it made me fiend for whatever that was, because like we didn't know what it was. So you see these pictures and these performances, and you're like, well, what is that? What's going on? And then you spend all this time wondering, like, what am I missing? And then you go, why the fuck is he overseas doing that? Why ain't, why I can't get this here? And it makes you, again, it's not, I mean, I want to be clear. I think the estate is doing a good job. I think the estate is doing as best job as it can. But it's like you say, why isn't this like a DVD on the Around the World in a Day thing? Like, I would just like to know what's the reasoning why this couldn't have been included with the Around the World in a Day special release. Because I think it would have really made it pop in a way. That's just me. I'll say.
So I'm trying to find this photo that I thought I had in the slide deck, but I did not. So I'm adding it really quickly, and let me go to it really quick, because I think Paisley Park actually had this display. So this is going to look a little jacked up, but it's okay because I'm doing it super fast. Because you don't have time for me to be looking for stuff. So here is the actual outfit. Like,
Okay.
you know, what I always find interesting is how long the ruffles stayed in, you know, in the look. Like, so you got the black purple rain ruffles here. And yep. Okay. And so this is another shot here, which I love. It's black and white. Again, another photo by Sophie Bramley. And then this isn't the best photo, but it gives you context of the stage and like where everyone was set up in terms of Dr. Fink and Bobby Z and Brown Mark and all of that. And we've already seen this, but you know, cufflinks like this cost money. And this was a New Breed fan club poster, which was from the actual interview. And this is a newspaper from Nice. And this is what it says, Prince, a gift for 2,000 friends. It's not too late to say a few words about what happened last Sunday afternoon at the theater in Nice. Prince had taken over the venue to shoot a music video for America, a track from his latest album. For this, he had specially brought his group, The Revolution, from the United States and stayed for 2 nights at the Superstars Hotel to rehearse for long hours amid an impressive array of equipment. On Sunday, everything was set up under the big tent for filming. For the occasion, Prince had distributed more than 2,000 invitation cards, accompanied by a friendly note expressing in advance his gratitude to the young people of Nice for their active participation in the video. That might be 200 instead of 2,000. In fact, Prince, perhaps missing a bit of music while living with Under the Cherry Moon at La Victorine Studios, took advantage of the circumstances. Once the clip was completed, to make another one, Paisley Park, and then launch it to a real show that hadn't been planned at all. Everything was done with passion and spontaneity. An hour later, the delighted crowd left the venue, sweat on their foreheads and one word on their lips: fantastic. They had just experienced what thousands of fans in major cities dream of, attending a concert by Prince and the Revolution. And I was one of those people because I didn't see anything from this era. I saw 1999, I saw Purple Rain, but nothing for Parade Live. So I was one of those people. A gift they won't soon forget. As for Prince, since that last night, he has, I think it might be 200 or so, 2,000 more young friends in Nice. And that's the person who wrote it. And that is the person who did the illustration for this particular article. And then in addition to that, this was in a Japanese magazine, and the Japanese text says something like, I want to continue to be evaluated by the quality of the music, which is similar to what he said in the MTV interview. And I love the title of this, The Silence Was Broken in France, because Prince wasn't talking to the press at this particular time. So this was a huge deal in real time. And then Jet came through in January of 2017.
I remember that.
He said, I remember this too, with this cover. And what I find really interesting about this cover is, you know, what's highlighted, because I didn't pay attention to this at the time, because again, I was 15 years old. I'm just excited to see Prince on Jet magazine because my grandmother had a subscription. I totally neglected to see the death penalty for a 16-year-old stirs heated debate,
right?
Which is really important. But at the top,
that's crazy. Just looking at that statement.
But,
that's wild.
And to our earlier discussion, look at the middle headline. I remember that. Look at the middle headline.
Two black shows make debut.
Two black shows make debut in TV's mid-season changes.
That was not black. See, today people see black people all over television. Mm-hmm. I remember a time when you look for one black face on TV.
Yep.
So you have to take all of that into understanding that people like Jet and the NAACP and all these people, it was about getting more Black people in the workspaces. So that you have Prince on this cover, you have the Going on Prince, and then right in the middle, 2 Black shows made. That was today. If a new Black show's on television, that's not major news. But in 1985, 86, you got 1 Black show per station if you were lucky. NBC had a Black show, CBS had a Black show, ABC had a Black show, and that was about it, right? So, yeah.
So Nick wants to know, first of all, did your dad have a Jet subscription?
Yeah, he had a Jet, and my father, what got him through with Jet was, unfortunately for me, because I love this, was the Jet centerfold. I was really upset when Pop got mad at the Jet centerfold. The Beauty of the Week picture. Some of y'all ain't old enough to understand the Beauty of the Week picture. So yeah, Brother Sneak, my father could not stand the Beauty of the Week because he saw that as objectifying women and not what the revolution should have been about. Me, myself, thought it was all about beauty. So yeah.
That was celebrating our sisters.
Yeah, that's what I tried to tell him, Brother D.
Hey, we couldn't see him nowhere. It wasn't really an opportunity to see sexy Black women respectively shown, and Jet had a 1-page dedicated for that.
Yes,
I knew cats. You go over some cat's house, their whole wall was them pictures.
I've never seen that, Michael.
Oh yeah.
Actually, in the movie House Party, they sort of give homage to that. I think Martin Lawrence's character, his wall was nothing but the Jet centerfolds.
Okay, so Nick says that they just sent Michael Dean the absolute shutdown clincher.
Oh Lord.
Read the NAACP pressure. And yes, Celie's dad sounds very cool. And yes, you got a confirmation. We used to plaster the walls with those Jet magazines. All right. So was it always, so 2 people have posted page 43. So was it always on page?
Yes, I was on the same page.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was always on the same page.
I'm learning something today. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Nick says that the Beauty of the Week goes back to the 50s.
It does, but the type of bathing suit changed, if we understand.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious.
Yes. All right. Okay. So in this Jet, there was one of these photos, which the reason why I wanted to show this is that only Jet magazine of all the photos I'm sure that they had access to, I love that they included the one with Jerome and like the one with like the look with Jerome. Like no other publication would have done this except for Jet magazine. So it's great to see Jerome. Okay, so we're getting to the end. So week 44 of 1985, 5 live appearances so far. So this America video shoot was on October 27, 1985. Previously, we've had the American Music Awards in January, the Brit Awards in February 12th, Grammy Awards in February, and Academy Awards in March. And Bilal is on tour. He's touring tonight in Europe, in Germany at the Uber Jazz Festival. So he has been like working it like a job last year and this year. He has been like nonstop touring. And Alice Smith is coming to Chicago on November. And then there are some videos, if you don't know Alice Smith, at Groovement 71, some amazing live videos there. And I got
real quick, can you hear this?
Why we were in the band from the get-go. Prince told me. He told me this out of his own.
You do hear? Okay, these are the clips. I don't want to. Whenever you're ready, I have.
Let's go ahead and do it. Let's do it.
All right. I ain't heard these, so hopefully these ain't nothing crazy, Nick.
I heard that they didn't want us in the group, and they didn't appreciate us being in the group. But see, they don't know why we were in the band from the get-go. Prince told me. He told me this out of his own mouth. The NAACP was coming down on him for not having enough multicolored people working for him. That's why he added me, Jerome, Brooks, and Miko to the revolution.
Brother was so elusive. He slipped his way out of stuff like an eel through seaweed.
And then there's one more here.
I heard that they didn't want us in the group, and they didn't appreciate us being in the group. But see, they don't know why we were in the band from the get-go. Prince told me. He told me this out of his own mouth. The NAACP was coming down on him for not having enough multi.
I think that was the same.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple of things there, because the first part of that quote is cut off. Who didn't want them in the band were the original members of the Revolution. Let's be clear about that. So it was some of the original members of the Revolution did not want the band expanded. All right. Now that's the first part. Let's be clear about that. Of who didn't want the band expanded. That's number one. Number two, I'm not going to knock what Wally is saying. I can't say that Wally is lying about what Prince said to him. That may have been Prince's way of getting around. But what the NAACP was doing was pressuring record companies. There is no actual evidence. But there is plenty of evidence that the NAACP met with record companies and wanted record companies to hire more Black executives. There's actually no evidence that the NAACP met with or pressured Prince to put Black people in his band. Period.
Okay, so we're going to move, and I think we're going to end that conversation there. We need a little, yeah. All right, so I got to give a special thanks to Chip and Sparrow, one of our What Did Prince Do This Week regulars based in Japan, who went to go see Sheila E. this week in Japan at the Blue Note in Tokyo. So Chip and Sparrow, thank you so much for sending us these amazing photos. One, we get to see the outside of the Blue Note, which looks much more deluxe than the one in New York. I will tell you that. And I love this poster that you shared with us. And here you can see, like, I love that Sheila signed the poster to the Blue Note Tokyo. I think that is so cool. That's the actual poster outside the venue. It's signed by Sheila. And I love, and you've heard me, I think this is the reason why Chip and Sparrow, you sent me this. Sheila has gone back to signing her name backwards because she had stopped doing it. And I love that Sheila going back to writing backwards again. I don't know what happened.
I thought that was a camera trick. No, I forgot she does that. Wow.
Yeah, she does that. So this is incredible. Thank you so much, Chip and Sparrow. And I'm sure you'll watch this replay. We've already talked about Michael Dean. This is in the accompanying playlist, his conversation with John McKee about another new Prince book. And I can't wait to listen to the rest of it to get more context. I know that you had an amazing conversation because, like Celie said, you are, bar none, I've said this a few times, the best interviewer out there. No one included, including myself, the best. Wow. And then we had Lisa. This was like amazing. Lisa Coleman, just Lisa, on Funkatopia. And that was a really great conversation. With Mr. Christopher as well as Michael Bland. So if you missed that, that's also in the accompanying playlist. And we cannot forget about Dr. Funkenberry, especially since we know how cancer can really take people out. That's what, for those who don't know, that is how D'Angelo passed. D'Angelo had pancreatic cancer. So just say a really kind word to Dr. Funkenberry, particularly as we come close to the holidays. Thanksgiving is coming up, Christmas is coming up. Please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Send him positive words. And if you can, please continue to support his GoFundMe. His expenses continue to rise. And then the same for Addie Durant, who is also a member of the Purple community. And again, she was heavily involved in the Clubhouse audio version of Purple Rain. So please, please, please help support Addie with her GoFundMe and also send her any positive words and keep her in your thoughts and prayers as well. And then there's also Des Dickerson, and everyone should know who Des Dickerson is, who has a GoFundMe as well. And then let's see, again, there's a lot in the accompanying playlist. I'm going to add some more stuff in the playlist because D68A said that they have the rehearsal before the America shoot uploaded. So I'm going to make,
wow.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure that I add that. And I'm going to add that Wendy version of the interview that D68A said is on the No Name channel. So thank you, D68A, for both of those additional videos. And so in addition to the D'Angelo interviews that we mentioned, Michael Dean's tribute to D'Angelo, as well as Michael Dean's conversation with the author John McKee. I also uploaded the D'Angelo covers that Bilal and 3 members of the Vanguard did with Robert Glasper at Blue Note, New York City last week. This is Brown Sugar and Betray My Heart. And that is a wrap. Thank you so much.
I just say this,
Celie said I ain't done.
I just say this, Nick. I ain't stubborn. If you feel like the mic has been dropped, brother, have at it, but ain't no damn mic been dropped. That's all I got to say.
Okay. All right. And so let me, I just want to put
this is taking me back to the 80s, man. When we used to be arguing about, man, Jesse's better than
That's right.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to give very special thanks to Michael Dean for coming back, because I was like, oh no, Michael Dean might not come back after this break.
Hilarious.
And also, I was like, Celie might not be here because we're at State University, and I thought I was going to be all by my lonesome.
Well, where's Ricky at? That's a question.
There you go.
Well, Ricky's in Virginia, and Ricky sent those the D'Angelo. So I don't know if Ricky is actually at the funeral.
Yeah, he might be at the
Oh.
So I don't know. He might be there. So also, I want to say thank you to each and every person in the chat for coming back, because I was like, I don't even know if everybody else is going to come back.
Yes, the chat.
So I really, really appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope that you will watch either Scream, Blackula, or Ganja and Hess this weekend, because people are still celebrating Halloween. And obviously, if you haven't, you should play some D'Angelo. And if I were you, I would start with the first album, work your way all the way through, then do the live album. There's like a lot of other stuff too, because he did some guest spots, you know, like on Slum Village and all of that. There's a lot of, not a lot, but there are several guest spots. And like I said, my favorite is on the Book of Clarence. All right. Thank you so much, Drea Dances. And with that, we are going to end this show. Take us on out, Michael Dean. Do you want to say anything?
Man, great show, great conversation, great debates and love. That's because we care. Salute to Sinek, salute to Celie. Ricky.
Thank you, brother Sinek. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. He took Lee's place today. Salute to Lee's wife coming through. Hopefully she joins us again. So, salute to everybody in the chat. We see all y'all. Welcome back. This show don't work without you guys at the end of the day. So please remember that. Salute to D'Angelo, all the great work, just getting all the resources and all those cool clips and stuff. It's fantastic. This is why we love being Prince fans, because there's a community of people who care deeply and go find all this great stuff, and we get passionate. This is what it's all about. So welcome back. Greg to be back. Work it like a job. We'll see you guys next Saturday.
Peace.
Yeah.